Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Glad to be here with the one and only Mr. Will Fix. How you doing tonight, Will?
Man, I'm doing so good. I can't stand it.
Right on, man. That's what we like to see. Glad to be here with you guys tonight. We obviously changed the title of the show from Hopium with Will Fix to the main topic tonight, which is going to be about XRP private and public merge. We got some info that Will Fix wants to share with you guys tonight. But before we get into all that, we're going to welcome some of you guys. Obviously, we're waiting for a few more of you guys to filter on into here and so on. But it's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about, obviously, XRP. Will's got some things to share with you in regards to a particular coin/token project that has something to do with real estate. He's pretty excited to share that with you guys. We're also going to get into a little bit later in the show after Will leaves, because he's not going to be here for a WrestleMania or anything like that. But we have some Quant and some Jasmine to get into. So it's going to be a great show. Again, guys, we just like to advise, please smash the like. And if you really, really appreciate the content, please share it with others. It definitely helps the broadcast. This is a dual simulcast broadcast. We've never done this before. We've done it in regards to Twitter, but we never done a simulcast from one channel to another. So this also is simulcasting right from Will Fix's channel as well. So you'll start seeing new people from his channel also here as well. Super cool. We figured that out about an hour and a half before the show. But before we get more into welcoming more of you guys and so on, we're going to recognize this super chat. It comes from the one and only Mr. Henry Brown. We really appreciate that. He says, community check-in. Comment below on how is everything with you, and ask questions, learn together, grow together. Thanks so much, Henry. That's a nice way to get things going. And like I said, guys, who are normally from Maximus Crypto community, we also want to welcome Will Fix's community. He's actually ahead of me as we speak, which is unbelievable. Will, just share some of that, how ecstatic you are to be basically monetized in a week.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. I just had Max and I we've known each other for 20 years, and I was watching his channel. I didn't even know it was him. We just lost contact with each other just over the years. We were big gaming fans, playing Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, and we used to have a good time, spend a lot of time, together, on the internet, how you do if you've ever gamed live like that. And so I'd watched several of his videos, and then I saw in the corner that, it said DPG Maximus. I was like, there's no way, Now I look quite a bit different from when we used to game, and he looks different. I was like, So I texted him. I'm like, you wouldn't be DPG Maximus like, we used to game. And his response was, Will Fix, I was like, what's up, man? So we reconnected. And then, I'm all about crypto. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, here we are with the exact same interest again. So it was just a great reunion, man. We've been on the phone for hours and hours and hours talking. And, so I had this idea about the coin on the first video that I did. And I thought, this is going to strike a chord. So I did that first video. You guys probably saw it. And I think it was a week, just a couple days ago. And it was over 31,000 views, and several thousand people joined my channel. Now, my channel is just like where I post Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It's just like my personal channel. It totally freaking exploded, which was, you got to like that, So, so now we're joining together to go ahead and, do this thing, since it seems like it's a good thing to do, and people are liking it, so we're having a good time with it. And now I'm getting to know some of you people, and just great people, man, here Boomer, Dingy. Now I start naming, just go ahead and just act like I named you, because it's everybody.
Yeah.
Here's the list,
we're going to get into some of that list, and we want to thank you guys from both platforms. I'm viewing the other channel as we speak. So on the other channel, there's 29 people from that channel. There's people from our channel, and the combined, we're at 62. So this is really working. This is really awesome. We can't thank you guys enough. And this is obviously a great formula. So let's welcome both communities come together as one, Maximus Crypto and the Will Fix community. And we're going to get into our outline that we have for you guys tonight in regards to Will Fix's key findings. It's going to be a nice little back and forth conversation, not just with us, but also with you. So please smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's go ahead and start off with the first thumbnail that we see today. And it comes from the one and only Mr. Squidward Edward Vincent. He says, killer thumbnail. Thank you so much, Mr. Edward Vincent. We also got Tim Shea in the house, the Mayor of Crypto Commissioner, saying, hey, representing that 589th district of the XRP Army and fellow constituents. We also have Darren Crumblesome, Fluffy Fluff in the banana hammocks. Like I always said, Will, you don't want to get shot across the map with a guy with a gamer name like that. You're just going to uninstall your game at that point, right? We also got Dingy in the house. Damn, you guys are early. We have to be, because you know what? Will's got kind of like a time constraint and so on, which is fine. He's not going to be here every single day, but you will see him on both channels. We're obviously doing recorded content. He also is a manager over at this channel, Maximus Crypto. I'm also a manager over at his channel, Will Fix. So it's a great thing we got going on. Dingy says, is this the night finally Max will do the floating head? That's not tonight, but we'll get that going on in the future. Maybe we'll do a dual floating head. What they mean, Will, is you're going to get a green t-shirt, and then when you get a green screen also, and then it creates an effect of us having floating heads. It's kind of funny.
I like it.
We'll have to make it happen, right? Absolutely. Going further down, we also have Henry Brown. Thank you again for the super chat. I'll double check the other screen, see how we're doing on super chats. Want to welcome Selma Flood, OG of OGs. Do your own research. What up, Max and Will? Guys, if you're from Will Fix's channel, it's just something, it's just something we're kind of accustomed to doing. We always welcome some of you guys, and we kick it into the outline. Dreamer is here. Good to see you. Brittany also in the house. Boomer effing sooner. Break all the windows in your house. Boomer effing sooner. Glad to have you here. Let's also welcome Mr. River. I'm just trying to see if there's anything specific. Tim Shea says, think they're chanting before they start the stream. A little bit, right? A little bit. Robert Ferretti, maybe this is one of your guys from your channel. I think so. He says, hit this, pass it to the left, Will Fix.
There you go, man.
I like that. That's good stuff. We also got HMIC1619. Just welcome a few more of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Z, Jeff Pruden, good to see you. Good to see you. Miami, the Doge camper van. Hi from the UK. When will AMM amendment come through? That is something I have to look more into. You know, something that I study is the whole thing of the electronic trades documents bill that became an act. So I have to catch up on that. But nonetheless, Miami, the Dodge camper van. Welcome. Please, everybody, welcome all newcomers. Sobo, glad to have you here. Great to see this happening. Thank you. Always glad to see Sobo, fellow educator. Thank you for being here. Cool Cat Crypto's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Cody Core. So lots of good people here tonight. Marvin Davis, welcome back. Glad to have you. Glad to see Will Fix, as he mentioned. Danilo. Sorry, let me cut you off. My bad.
Oh, that's fine.
Luis, welcome, welcome. All right. We also have Magic Power, Hello Guten Tag, Liechtenstein Exchange, Jesuit Consortium. Let's go. All right. I think we'll read maybe a couple more comments. Achman is in the house. Uncle Thursday. Glad to see you. First time. Huh. Well, this is the second time now. Let's see here. Yes, everybody be careful tomorrow with all the crazy stuff in the world, right?
Yeah.
And let's also read this from Daniel Schoonover. I'll do my best to get to 3,000, but funds are tight. That's understandable. And let's read one more comment. Mick Prosperity, when would this happen? Merging of private and public ledgers. So let me just double check, and we'll leave it on that comment. We'll double check the screen real quick, making sure we're good. And I think for the most part we are. I'm actually going to check my screen.
Smooth streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm also checking to see about, because I don't want to miss on a super chat. Not that you guys have to drop super chats, but you know, what's the point of donating a super chat? Maximus here doesn't read it, right? Yes, there was one on the Maximus Crypto stream. Let's pull that up. It's from the one and only Samo Fudd. It is $10 super chat. He says, we got Max with the facts and Will Fix in the mix. That's awesome.
Show enough.
Yeah, Selma always drops the great rhymes. So thank you, Selma. I really appreciate that. And also Henry Brown. And I just want to say, we both appreciate everybody from both communities and so on to come as one community, basically. So what we have is a real treat for you guys tonight. Will has got into the nitty gritty from his findings, and I'm just going to let him take it away, sir.
Yeah, man. Let's take a look at this. This is an article written. What we're going to cover is I had several statements, and replies out of all the replies, and it seems like there's a lot of tension about the private ledger, and of course the tension is when you have a fear. A fear is usually answered by, the lack. It's not a hopeful answer that you get from a fearful thought. And the fearful thought is, man, all the money's going to come into XRP. It's not going to raise the price. And then we're just going to be sitting here with a 50-cent coin, stiffed by XRP.
I see that all the time. Yeah, I see those comments all the time. If you're going to address that, that'd be great. Listen,
it's so we come up with our own answers if we don't have an answer. I mean, there's many people don't even know about crypto at all. All they know is, maybe Shiba Inu and something happened and a friend lost some money and they just think, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. I don't even know what that is. But, for lack of knowledge, my people perish. It's said in the Bible, and knowledge, with knowledge is also power. And so I'm going to share something with you about the public ledger, and it's going to blow your mind. People that don't think $25,000 is possible, you're getting ready to change your mind. You're getting ready to see that $25,000 is possible. And I want you to see this. I want you to, and it's not hope without an actual event that's going to happen. It's hope like you just drove underneath the Six Flags sign and you're getting ready to go in the gate and you got tickets in your hand. It's not hope like, I hope I get to go to Six Flags. It's hope like, here it comes. So we're going to talk about some of these things. Let's look at this article right here.
Sure, absolutely.
All right.
And also to catch you guys up on something, even yesterday we were talking about, JP Morgan, guys. And even if you're not the type of person you're like, well, what about the market cap? That's just crazy. That's all the money in the world. JP Morgan on yesterday's show, we gave you the example, right, of talking about $10 trillion in payments done per day. We even drew that QNT connection, right? Today's XRP. But the point is, these ones that we're focused on, whether it's ISO 222 or ISO TC 307. Let's jump into Will Fix's outline. So take it away, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So we're looking at this article. This article was written about in January the 2nd, 2022. Ripple's private ledger, the solution for central bank digital currencies. In March of 2021, Ripple declared its creation of the Ripple private ledger, a private version of the open source public XRP ledger. This innovation is designed to offer central banks a secure, controlled, and adoptable mechanism for issuing and managing central bank digital currencies. Given that 80% of central banks are currently exploring digital currency options, the birth of new CBDCs is inevitable. The term CBDC refers to the digital manifestation of a fiat currency. Okay, the digital manifestation of a fiat currency. That's what a CBDC is. This is important. A tokenized or electronic representation of a nation's official currency. So what I want to say there is, a country doesn't want to lose their, if you use the yen, you don't want to then start calling it an XRP. So the yen is going to be maintained as the name. It's part of the culture. A dollar is part of our culture. So So they're talking about a tokenized electronic representation, the CBDC, of the entire currency. All right, now let's read on. CBDC implementation challenges and Ripple's solution. So the technology that underpins the majority of CBDCs, as well as most cryptocurrency, is the distributed ledger. However, central banks seeking to utilize existing blockchains for swift CBDC implementation often encounter challenges related to handling the necessary transaction volumes. In addition, a distributed digital ledger requires a cryptocurrency to perform transactions. A significant drawback of utilizing existing public blockchain lies in their public nature, making all transactions visible. Since central banks necessitate privacy for their transactions and demand greater control over their currency than a public ledger provides, Ripple's private ledger for CBDCs offers a more attractive solution. Okay, so the private ledger is exactly that, just keeping the transactions private, because it's every transaction when a CBDC comes on board and becomes the currency of a nation. What XRP is saying is we're going to put a wall around that, and all of the transactions. Oops, sorry, I hit my mic. I get excited.
It's okay. Well, you know, it's your first time being on. It's okay.
Because all the transactions of the CBDC would be on the open ledger. Well, you don't want people to be able to see that you went to Walmart. You know, just think about this. All the transactions of the entire nation and currency is what Ripple is going to hold. All of the money of these nations. Just think of the scope of that. That's every penny in the bank, everything going through whatever, PayPal, whatever, you know, the country has. It's all of the money. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. This is a tremendous amount of money. There's 50 central banks that Ripple's talking to, 50 nations. Okay.
Hold on. Just keep that for a moment. Keep that thought for a second.
Oh, God.
I want to make an announcement. Thank you guys for being here. We took up to 78 people on the live. This is a new record for this platform. Please smash that like before we could tick up into the 80s. Now, some of you guys are viewing from Maximus Crypto. You're seeing it that there's only 40 people, but also from Will Fix's channel, there's also 40 people. We're 39, awesome. So we're at 79. So awesome. On our live stream that we see, you guys don't see it. It says there's currently about 77 or 78 right now. So both combined, we just did it. 81. This is the biggest stream we ever had on this new channel. Can't thank you guys enough for this is awesome. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of both communities come together as a unified community. And back to you, Will. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore. Just thought I'd make that announcement. Please smash that like, guys.
You're really not an interruption, my friend.
All right.
A closer look at CBDC private ledger. The CBDC private ledger is constructed on the same blockchain technology as XRPL, rendering it perfectly suited for payments. Ripple has stated that transactions on CBDC private ledger will be cost-effective, reliable, and nearly instantaneous. It can also manage the high transaction volumes required by the central banks. Notice the plural. This is so freaking huge, man. Processing tens of thousands of transactions per second initially, with the potential to scale up over time, which they've already improved it since this article. Importantly, transactions on the CBDC private ledger are validated by the consensus protocol used by XRP Ledger, making it less energy intensive and less costly than public blockchains utilizing proof of work. With the CBDC private ledger, central banks can flexibly and securely generate their digital currency, meeting high security standards while maintaining privacy and policy compliance. This solution allows technology to adapt to them rather than forcing them to adapt to technological constraints. Now, key insights. Ripple has described its solution as a game changer for central banks. Monica Long, general manager of Ripple X at Ripple, stated that XRP would serve as a bridge or intermediary between the CBDC and other currencies. So, that's definitely taking the spot of SWIFT, isn't it? So they put up their currency and it goes through the ledger and shows up on the other end, and they convert it to their currency. So look at this. Matt Hamilton, principal developer advocate at Ripple, verified that the CBDC private ledger is based on the public XRP ledger, each institution managing its own private ledger. So it is what it is. David Schwartz, chief technology officer, which we're going to show a video from him here in just a minute, at Ripple, explain the necessity of the private aspect for central banks and how XRP can facilitate private ledger transactions, just like non-XRP transactions on the XRP ledger. Because you just see there the invitation for others to use it, which increases XRP. That helps you and me out. It's okay. Come on, friends, right? Let's get them all.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's get them all in there. Now, hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, this conclusion. Check this out. CBDCs represent central banks' digital iteration of fiat currency. The private XRP ledger is derived from the public XRP ledger, but remains entirely private. XRP serves as a neutral bridge currency for the intrabank transactions on the private ledger and the interbank transactions on the public ledger. Now, what they're basically saying here, let me pull this down real quick. Let me see. All right. So XRP is saying the private ledger is just for the sake of making those transactions private, because that is one of the things a CBDC, this is the country's currency. So it's not just them buying XRP. By the way, if a bank buys XRP and then sends it to somebody, it's then immediately sold, right? So the objective was never that these banks buy and hold. The objective was for the banks to use it. Now, some of them are going to buy and hold and then sell at a higher price. So I want to talk about one aspect of this, and we're going to sink the nail here in just a second with a little over a 1-minute video.
I haven't heard that expression since I used to work in construction about 22 years ago.
Man.
But yeah,
we're going to countersink the nail. A direct question, to David Schwartz. That's his name, isn't it? Schwartz.
But he has a pseudonym of Joel Katz.
Well, as soon as I hear his last name, I'm thinking of what was the movie that was like that had Dark Helmet.
Spaceballs. Spaceballs. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
If there was ever a film that deserves sequels, it was Spaceballs.
Yeah.
But,
Spaceballs.
Mel Brooks classic. Yep.
Absolutely hilarious. But what I want to say about this is
real quick, guys, just one more advisory. Please smash the like. Maybe we could we just ticked up into the 90s. Maybe we could tick up to the hundreds. This will be our biggest show yet.
Oh yeah. The more y'all hit the algorithm, that's just tapping on the algorithm and saying, man, I'm voting for you guys, because then it instantly is associated in the algorithm and just draws more people and sticks this video in front of their face, and maybe they'll tap. And we're having a good time with this. Absolutely. And really, as much feedback as I got, people need these answers because they're discouraged, and I want to encourage, I want to depart courage into people, because this is going to be so big. If you got a jar full of pennies, I'm not even kidding. Okay. Now I can't give financial advice, right? But if you got a jar full of change, you realize XLM is like a dime. XDC's a nickel. XRP's 50 cents.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's people look at the price of XRP like, oh, that's a little bit too much. Are you kidding? How about this? People say that Q&T is too much. It's going to be too much when you're priced out of it. You know, you will be priced out of it. Like, look at BTC.
Sure.
BTC is like a glorified meme coin at this point.
Man, we can get a nickel together. I mean, come on, we can get a nickel. We can get 50 cents. If 50 cents can turn into $58,000, like the Forbes article, anyway. So let me say this. Okay, so JP Morgan, one bank, $10 trillion a day. $10 trillion a day. Now the SWIFT system's doing about 7 trillion as one figure I saw, and then I think that was an older article, 5 trillion a day. That's a lot of money. But most people are comparing apples to apples, but really the whole system's going to change. They're really comparing an apple to a watermelon.
I never heard that analogy before. That's crazy. Yeah.
Listen, because if the SWIFT system was all there was, that's what people are saying. Well, no, this is what the price is going to be, you know, based on $5 trillion. That's not what we're comparing to. What we're comparing to is the SWIFT system and possibly 50 countries or more, all of their money. We're also comparing to the derivatives market, which is quadrillions, because last month they passed a law and said now that the bond market, the bond market, because the derivatives market also, but the bond market, they just passed a law and said now you can do bonds and treasuries on digital contracts, because the law was written, it had to be on paper. That's how old the law was. It's like, you know, you got to have
all the more for Electronics Trade Documents Act.
So the price of XRP isn't just SWIFT system. It's not just person to person. It's an entire country. Now, the worry that we're getting ready to finally put the last nail in was that all that money is not going to count to the XRP you and I hold on the public ledger. Well, let's put that to rest. I want you to understand that this is a direct question to somebody who matters.
By the way, Will, we just ticked up to 103. This is our world record. On the previous channel, my old channel, I was able to get up to 100 once. You guys rock. Both communities come together as one. Thank you so much, you guys. Go ahead, Will.
I love it. Now, okay, so we talked about the bond market, which is bigger than the stock market. We talked about the derivatives market, which is quadrillions. And I saw a graph that it was showing on the page. It was showing, you know, this is how much money is in the bond market, and the stock market. And it was showing different markets. And it went to the derivatives market, and I had to scroll down because it was like 3 pages long. The amount of money in the derivatives market is just astronomical. Then you get the bond market. Okay. Now we're not even talking about, and I want to show you something about the tokenization of land.
Hold that thought about the tokenization of land real quick, because I do want to respect both channels and both communities with comments. So on your channel, Will, I want to recognize a few people from over there. Robert Ferretti, obviously HMIC 1619, Dano, Miami, the Dodge camper van. There's some of the other guys, right? MC Prosperity, Peter, Day for Day. Here's a question real quick in regards to back of what you're talking about, Will. This is from your channel. This comes from MC Prosperity. He says, when would this happen, merging with private and public ledgers? Try to remember that.
Yeah.
And then this other one, I'm going to give a shout out to Crypto Illuminati. Hi, Will. Recently found your channel a few weeks ago. Greetings from Spain. I mean, how cool is that? Worldwide. So,
okay,
guys, that's awesome. So, do you want me to read that question again for you, or do you?
No, I heard it.
Okay.
I got it. When is the merging going to take place? The absolute split second they turn the system on. It's going to be all at once. But here's why they do that. So it's held separate for now. But the reason that they do that, if they took all of their money at whatever price that the institutions have purchased it for, or that the CBDCs have gotten it for, you know, all that money is not being used yet. If you put all of the money in the system and it inflates the price. There's going to be tons of people cashing it out. It's going to, but it won't be being used. It'll just be sitting there. So the system has to be used for the money to be there. It's not that they're buying XRP, you know, and just holding it, you know. They're using it now. It's piled up in the Bank of International Settlements because they got to have at least 3 to 5 days worth of settlement money. So they got, you know, trillions of dollars sitting in the Bank of International Settlements, doing settlements, you know, that take days to get done. So where are they going to take the money? You know, they're going to pull all that money out and then just stick it over here and just wait. So I think some of the banks are going to buy to increase their balance sheet and make investment. But this is why David Schwartz, in a response to a question of when is the price going to go up, he literally nonchalantly said, well, that's just a flip of the switch.
And speaking of a flip of a switch, can we get up to 110 people simulcasted? I saw it went to 106. I also want to respect another question that came in. It's actually from yours. It's another question for you, Will. It's from Greg Dogs. Thank you, Greg, for being here, by the way. He says, how many XRP does he need? I'll let you take that one. I feel as though, obviously, guys, none of this is financial advice. You got to do what's best for you and your family. My response always is, I know this is towards you, Will, but anyway, I'll share mine real quick. To me, it's always depend on how long you're willing to hold the asset. You know, if you're in a quick rush, like I need to make dough in 2 years, then, well, you know, it's going to require a lot more XRP than maybe just, you know, 5 XRP or 10 or 100. It just depends on how long you're willing to hold it. What about you, Will? What do you think in regards to that? How much should a person hold in regards to XRP?
Here's what I think. The Bank of International Settlements, sorry, I keep hitting this mic, and the International Monetary Fund and the powers that be over the transfer of all of this money has, they picked ISO 20022, and they have declared that everyone has to be ready with this protocol by 2025, which means it's got to be in 2024.
Well, November of 2025, right? Yeah.
Was it November of 2025? Okay.
That's when we're supposed to get full implementation. That's why I keep saying to everybody, guys, it's not about partnerships. That complements the whole thing, kind of like ice, you know, vanilla ice cream, right? You want the syrup on top, you want the banana, all that stuff, right? It complements it. But we need to see that utility in motion. We need to see somebody devour this banana split, if you will, and then make more of these banana splits. I know it's a crazy analogy, but
the amount, yeah, and it's all going to be according to how much money goes in there. And so probably the initial institution of what's going to go on will be international trade, you know, from country to country. So I would count on that being, you know, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $4 trillion that XRP will get of the 7 trillion a day, you know, because there's so, you know, over 1,700 deals made. And they are literally the answer. I believe they're over the curve, meaning that it's now just sign up time. They got so many. Nobody else has even close to that amount.
Well, so speaking of sign up time, guys, we take up to 125 live people. This is our biggest show ever. Awesome. Both communities. Just give you guys a heads up on the stats real quick. 50 people watching for Maximus Crypto. We have 74 people watching from Will Fix's channel, and we're at 124, 125. So thank you guys.
Awesome.
I won't state it all the time, but it's just, you got to keep in mind, you know, this is new for both of us. This is a new channel for me. You know, I'm not gonna get back into the old bad stuff, but we want to thank you guys so much. Thank you for blessing us with your presence, your questions. We might not be able to get to everybody's comment. We're gonna do it best as we possibly can. But anyway, back to you, Will.
Listen, I kind of want to see a poll out of these people. If you own XRP right now, I don't care if you own one. If you own any XRP, put a 1 in the comment. And I kind of want to get a picture. If you don't, it's okay. You know, no one's going to ridicule you. But I promise you, you can find $1. You can find $1. Go earn $1. Mow a grass. Because if $1 is going to turn to 58,000 You're literally purchasing $58,000 for 50 cents. All you got to do is wait. Is that insane or what? This isn't maybe. This transfer of wealth is going to happen. It is already in play. Imagine right now that you take these 1,700 deals and then what are they going to just pop up one day and go, kidding? Yeah, we're not going to do that thing. Yeah.
Right.
Now that's not going to happen.
I do have to interrupt you with real quick. Sorry so much. I'll get back to your thought. I just want to recognize a super chat that came in. It came in from Sinbad, I believe. I just want to recognize some of that because, I mean, what's the point of having a super chat that doesn't have it read?
I mean, you people.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. We're getting a lot of people interacting, and I think the main thing is, like I was saying before, guys, it's kind of like that Phil Collins song, In the Air Tonight. You could literally feel something happening. How about this Satoshi Nakamoto on his Twitter account? He hasn't tweeted since 2018. All of a sudden, he tweets. Like, do you feel it in the air tonight? I feel it in the air tonight. I want to welcome this guy real quick. Crypto Info, DYOR. Glad to have you. Really appreciate you. Corey Bebe, appreciate you. Thank you for being here. AKA not a scam. Day for day. Did you go to the proper party? That's an interesting one. But let's welcome Day for Day. Appreciate you. Glad to have you here. Just going to get down to the super chat. I want to welcome Bo Rabbit, Cool Cat Crypto winner. But dear, glad to have you here. Now XLM is bad mother blankety blank. Welcome. Dan, yeah, good to see you, Badir. Appreciate you, especially on this show, man. That's good to see you, old time watcher, supporter.
What's up, Will? Did I get what? Let me see. I got something in the way of the screen.
You go to the proper parties, what he signed. Anyway.
Oh, come on. No, I didn't get to go, man. I didn't get to go. I just smoked a fatty of some hopium.
That's all right.
Just on my own, bro.
We're gonna that was fine. It's totally fine. We're gonna read this from Sinbad. He's a supporter, obviously, of our channel, long time support. Thanks, Sinbad. He's got the $20 Canadian super chat. Who gonna call? Maximus Busters. Yeah, that'd be a nice thing to have. But if it was on YouTube, they'd probably flag it for copyright. But thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. We obviously answered this. I guess apparently it does come on from both screens, so that's cool. I don't need to look at the other one, but I think I do need to look at the other one from your channel just to kind of separate like who's from where and so on. But we are one channel united as one, right? And this is awesome. You guys rock, man. So we did answer that question in regards to that. Double check the other screen real quick. We are caught up on some of that. Badir, just giving you a heads up about JP Morgan. Check out the replay yesterday in regards to JP Morgan. $10 trillion daily in assets. We added it up earlier. 365 days in a year puts that into about roughly 3 point some odd quadrillion. The bottom line is this: whether it's Will Fix, myself, and so on, it seems crazy when we mention some of these crazy market caps. Some people just like, there's just no way. There's not that much money in the world and so on. But when you look more into it, it's not just about payments. It's also some other things like what Will's sharing with you guys and so on. We're going to get into that in a bit. I just want to make sure that I'm caught up on everything. I think I am for the most part. Yep, I am. I'm going to double check the other screen for your channel. Let's also read this from, this is a good question. Let's see here. So we have mobile tech support. He asks, what's better buy, XRP, Ripple stock at Link? I wouldn't mind owning Ripple stock, and I do agree, mobile tech support, that like what Rich at Common Sense Crypto was talking about. He was saying, yeah, owning Ripple stock is great. You know what I mean? Like it would probably be at least a 10x or more, not financial advice, maybe even a 20x. Yeah. But the way I look at it, as far as the one that's going to be life-changing generational wealth, is owning flat out XRP.
Yes,
all the way. And
yeah. And like we talked about the bond market. Okay, so everybody's comparing. I'm going to just say this again right before I show this other part. Everybody's comparing to the SWIFT system, aren't they? The $5 to $7 trillion a day. And so they get these low prices, $10, $12, $15. They're leaving out the bond market, which is bigger than the stock market. Not to mention the stock market will eventually come in, because once you tokenize a company, isn't that a stock? But it's gonna break break down all the stupid rules that you have when you try to list a company. on the stock market. You won't even have to go through all that. You can tokenize it. Anyway, so the bond market, the derivatives market, which is the hugest of them all. And then I want to show you something. I'm going to show you a play. This is Lofty AI right here. Let me make sure, blow that up for me. Take full screen for me.
So yeah, I mean, we could still have her. That's fine. Yeah, this is the biggest basically making.
So check this out. Now this is Lofty AI, and they use Algorand. This is.
1 second. Will, do us a favor. Click on that little X on the top where it says "Curious what others are saying about Lofty." There you go.
All right. Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. No problem.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So on this site, when I found this, I downloaded the app. In 15 minutes from downloading the app, I added my payment system. You add your account or whatever, right. And I bought 4 tokens at $50 each of a piece of property that was in Missouri. Look at this, Kansas City, 29.5% projected rental yield, 32.7% projected annual return. There's 630 tokens available at $50. And you just simply tap and buy. That's it. Now, I don't know if you've ever been involved with a piece of property, but it's usually way more difficult than just $50. Well, heck, over time, that means you can buy a return on your investment on rental property at $50 a chunk. So you buy one, this month, you buy one next month, a couple years down the road, you've got, $10,000 in there earning, I don't know if it'll stay at 30%, but my God, man, how easy is that?
Well, it's not only easy, but here's the thing, right? Let's give a simple breakdown, right? So you guys in the past, especially some of you newcomers and so on that don't know who I am, I covered Relio in the past, right? Some people would say, Max, can you do some more updates on Relio? And I think the answer is yes, I need to do that. We talked about Propri the other day, right? Tied in even with Warren Buffett, but he doesn't even realize it, right? He's not technically holding the token, but it's the VCs, if you will, or the guys in the background and so on, right? We talked about eBay in the past, right? Who hasn't used eBay at this particular point in time? You are literally seeing an example, a perfect example of something that kind of feels eBay-esque, if you will, or ish. And it's this. We talked about earlier about, currently people, they have to buy a sliver of BTC to own part of that. Well, forget that. Look at this. You can own a sliver, to my understanding, Will, of some of these properties. So instead of owning a sliver of BTC, how would you like to own a sliver of, or a chunk, or whatever the case be, of like that one at the top, 2423 South 51st Court, 29.5% projected rental yield, So with some of the ones that you bought, Will, or got into, I mean, elaborate on that for a moment.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
how big was the learning curve? Because for some newcomers, that's what they're worried about.
It literally was you see right there where it says buy? Once I hooked up my payment system, I tapped buy. That's how I got it. Now I already, and in 2 weeks, so I only got 4 tokens. It's $200. The tokens are now on the piece of property I bought $60. They're $60.
Just give you guys a heads up. This is not a shill or anything like that.
No,
right? This is just something that Will Fix stumbled upon.
Yeah,
it's like I stumbled upon Relio or whatever, right?
My point here really isn't even the property. My point here is this is available right here for them to hit buy. That's available all over the world. So I want you to, so we're talking about XRP is what we're talking about. The amount of money, like there's going to be hotels in Dubai that are going to be, $50 million to build, and they'll tokenize that thing, and you'll be sitting at your home scrolling through one of these sites, and you'll be able to buy property.
The tokenization of Dubai. I mean, in reality, this is the tokenization of anything and everything, but the proof literally right in front of you. And, when we talk about things being seamless and easy and immutable and so on. I mean, boom, there's an example right there for you guys,
Yeah.
So
And
there's that.
so imagine all over the world, all of the tokenization of properties, because now a property owner, if I wanted to, get some equity out of my house, I can tokenize my house. I can tokenize the equity in my house and raise money. And how much faster is it to do that? See, that's not a bank loan, is it? What if you don't qualify for a bank loan, but you own a house? What if something bad happened and your credit got screwed? You can tokenize it, man, and still raise some money. And if you don't have the credit to put, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 in a piece of rental property, but you got $50, right? And you slowly accumulate over the years. Well, over the years, you'll have enough money and it'll be paying your residual income. Now imagine this all over the world, going through XRP, going through, Algorand, riding on the Ripple rails. That increases the price, the amount of money that we're talking about to get a token to 25,000. Now here's the last thing that I want to share about this, because this just sinks it. Okay. He's gonna David Schwartz.
That's right. The video. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think he's probably got a grip on what's going on. Don't you? What is he? He's not the CFO, he's not the CEO.
CTO.
He's the technical CTO.
Chief Technical Officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to play this, guys. We're going to take off some of the branding for it just comes across the screen a little bit better. So take that off. Go ahead and prime it and share it, Will.
All right. Let me see. Okay. You took the branding off and
so there we go.
Thing. Yeah. Let me go ahead.
Just go ahead and
let's listen.
I'll play this for you.
All right.
There was another question that came up, and I don't know if this makes sense, but the question is, will the value of XRP be the same in the private ledgers as it is on the public?
Yes. The value proposition of XRP is that it has these liquidity pools. It doesn't make sense to isolate something. Like, there's no place where gold is worth twice as much as it is now, because if there was, people would just bring gold there and they would buy gold somewhere else and they would sell it there. Unless the only way that you can have the value be very different in two places is if there's a lot of friction. And if there's friction, someone will make a business of removing that friction. So I don't see any realistic scenario where XRP has significantly different value unless something's wrong. Like, a good example of a case, there was a time where the value of XRP, they called it the kimchi premium, right? Where the value of XRP in some Asian countries was very high, but that was because there were capital controls, right? That was because things were bad. I think that's a sign that something is not going well. The value proposition of XRP is that you can take it to all of the places, right? If I sell you some gold and you say, hey, this gold can only be used in jewelry, you're like, well, that kind of sucks. I don't want that gold, right? The value proposition of gold is that you have access to the entire value proposition of gold. And so I don't see any scenario in which where it makes sense to snip pieces off, again, unless something is wrong.
Sure.
Wow. It's all the same. The XRP that you can buy tonight for 48 cents or whatever it's at is getting ready to be inflated by so much money. And it's guys, it's $3.81 from 50 cents. I mean, I'm a pretty grateful person. If it goes to $4, I'm very grateful. 50 cents to $4, that's very nice. But we're not even in that ballpark. This whole thing, they're calling this the fourth industrial revolution. This is bigger than the .com. This is the entire world changing to digital currency, pulling out of the old systems, and all of the money is being digitized, all of it. And XRP has the biggest piece. XRP has the biggest piece, and it's 50 cents.
Another thing I want to point out is, some people have the attitude, like, some of the stuff that we talk about, it's like, all right, well, being utilized, it's a one and done. My thing is, again, the whole concept of like tens of trillions of dollars daily. Sorry about the sneeze, but anyway, like the whole concept of Nostra Vostra. You earlier were talking about what the banks have to technically hold. Another thing we touched bases on many years ago was during the time of the recession. The way I look at it is, if XRP existed at that particular time and had full implementation, was able to use what was formerly known as ODL, now they call it Ripple Payments. I'm always going to call it ODL, right? On-demand liquidity. the way I look at it is like, yeah, requirement of these Nostro Vostro accounts. But the problem is, once they access these accounts and use whatever it is they're supposed to hold that requirement, then they're out. Then they have to go to the the big government, if you will, like our the U.S. government, and said, hey, we got a problem, and this is where bank bailouts come involved. With the whole thing of Ripple's on-demand liquidity, it's kind of like I've always mentioned before. Give me a refill. They are that utility. They provide a constant refill, like going to I don't know, like a Taco Bell. Hey, can I have a refill on my Mountain Dew? Sure, no problem. Right. Just go to the machine, just constant refilling up. Imagine now that's your central banks of the world, and just constantly refilling that and refilling it. So this notion, and I've seen people mention this, where it's like, well, what happens where Ripple has this moment, XRP has this moment, but then it doesn't. You're not understanding ODL, and I would highly recommend everybody who's real serious about Ripple's XRP to research that more, because you will understand it means just that. On-demand liquidity is kind of like refilling that cup or that glass over and over and over again. It answers the problems that even exist to this day, and that is, who takes on that debt? If you have a real solution that meets that problem, and you can consistently do it almost every day, I should say almost every day, literally every day, how much is that going to be worth to move that kind of money?
Yeah, and here's the thing that is a kind of a misconception. Only the people who are holding XRP, who are going to sell it once it gets big enough, they're not going to hold it forever. But I do think there'll be a lot of people that'll stake it. Staking is probably going to be the main use, but the entire time of XRP's existence, the whole thing's been about the flow of money. See, the amount of money that's in the system, as it's moving money, there's going to be an amount that's in there all the time. So the more money that's moved all the time, there's going to be money in it. But it never was that they were going to keep the money all the time, because when a bank needs to send $1 billion, from the US to Switzerland, they upload $1 billion and it shoots over there. And then whenever they get it, then it comes right off the system, doesn't it? But there's so many people doing that at the same time, the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars daily. Then you add in these other 4 and 5 markets of the world. There's going to be trillions upon trillions, if not quadrillions of dollars running on Ripple. And the amount of this coin is going to be astronomical. And the biggest jump is going to happen, I believe, overnight. Just the retail part of having a bull market, that is pennies, folks. This going from 50 cents, if it goes down to 30 cents, isn't that still pennies? It's not even $1, is it? We're talking about 50 cents going to something like $58,000. $58,000.
I get it. I get it. So for some people, they see that and they're like, "There's no way. That's all the money in the world. It's not happening. You guys don't understand token." That's the main complaint. People say, and it's okay, guys. We welcome it, right? We're not going to get all
it is okay.
like, oh, I'm all butthurt about this. No, it's look. Ask the hard questions. We're cool with it. All right,
we're all going to be mud butt in the morning after this happens.
That's an inside joke to you guys over at Will Fix's channel.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. But shout out to Brian Dowdy and the whole thing. Guys, we're gonna read a scam. Yeah, that's a thing for Jasmine too. Like Jasmine scam. Yeah. We're gonna read a few more comments and so on, and then we're gonna kick it into a little bit more of what we have. It's been obviously a special treat to have Will Fix here. You guys gonna see consistent live streams, whether he's here or not, even on both channels, because we're like 2 channels unified as one, if you will. But yeah, glad to see some of you guys. We have, going further down on this list, let's see here, Joy from your channel. She says, so November 2023 partial implementation, November 2025 full implementation. That's the way I look at it. My thing is this, just real quick, and I want to hear what you got to say about this, Will, and that is, I don't get too excited anymore when it comes to dates. I've been wrong on some dates. Some dates I have been right? I'm not going to come up on a live screen or stream and say, hey, I'm right all the time. My key thing is utility and emotion. That's a slogan I basically have. And I want to see just that. I want to see more utility in motion. So here's the thing, back to you, Joy. Partial implementation should be a little bit of utility in motion. We should see that representative of the market, So I think we do start seeing some things in regards to Ripple's XRP. But if we talk about the start of a bull run, right, a bull market, then those are little indicators to it and so on. But for me, it's not about, the start of a bull market. For me and most of you guys, it's where things are at all-time highs. Most of us will never catch bottom. Most of us will never catch all-time highs, and it's like, how do you thread that line? Well, in my experience, I don't listen to some of the people, like even with the meme tokens back in the day. If it wasn't for some of those, I wouldn't be here, like Doge. You know how many people told me, or I should say told me specifically, but influencers saying it's going to go to $1, just hold it. Boy, I'm sure glad I didn't listen to them. I went with my gut and I said, you know what, based off of what we see right now, Doge is currently at all-time highs. Might be a good idea to just get out of this. So right before that, right, I think we went to like 73 or 74 cents for Doge. I cashed out like roughly 70, 71 cents. So my $300 investment was like 22K. Got bit by the crypto bug, said, hey, let's get into something else. So I think there's going to be obviously a lot of people. They're going to cash out on some of the big milestones, Ripple's XRP, even get back to previous all-time highs, like Will Fix point out, $3.84. That's a big deal. But getting to $5, yeah, it's a big deal, but that's not generational wealth for me. I say to myself, there's ones that I will be married to. A lot of content creators are going to say, don't be married to anything. I think it depends. If I look at XRP as being an asset that I'm going to earn like interest rate, like Will Fix was talking about earlier, I look at literally as winning the lottery. Am I going to be one of those yahoos that's going to go out and cash out my Powerball or my my Mega Millions and go against the principal? No, I'd rather just earn interest on that. Don't go against the principal, because technically speaking, you're already going against the principal anyway with the government. Uncle Sam taking, I think the figure is if you win $100 million, you get to keep, this was the figure, $33,333,333.33. So why go and then be like, I'm going to go out and buy 5 houses and a couple Lambos? You can still do that stuff, but why don't you just earn an annual yield on that? Is it really rocket science? Not really.
You can stake XRP for 10%. There's not a bank can touch that. 10% is a lot of money. And really, if you pull it all out, you're going to create one gigantic taxable event. If you stake it, you're getting monthly, taxable events. So it's a little bit easier to do. But I have to admit, man, if it goes to 100 million, I'm willing to pay 50 million in taxes and just be like, now I can do stuff, whatever.
Like Biggie Smalls, more money, more problems, more taxes, right? Anyway.
Yeah, man. And I'm a big proponent of hope. And it's funny how people are like, well, that's just hopium. How is it that hope became like a bad word and a criticism? Why is that? Dude, we need help. We need to encourage one another and we need to help one another stay on track for things that are good in our lives. And what am I supposed to do? Not have hope and what? Have depression? Think, the other shoe's going to drop and, we're none of this is going to work out and my life's going to suck. Is that what we're supposed to do? If so, I rebel. I'm not going to rebel.
Yeah.
I say, let's hope and let's encourage one another. Let's think of everything that's good. And there is a scripture. I remember it by Flip 4a, like Philippians 4:8. It says, think on good things. Well, you don't even have to like the Bible to think that that's a good idea. Think on good things that have virtue. Think on, and place your faith in things that you want to happen, because it's the substance of the things that you hope for. Put that in your future. If you got a jar full of pennies and you got $4 in there, go cash it out and buy buy a few tokens, and it'll be amazing. If you don't own any XRP right now, it'll be amazing if you just have $10 worth. Suddenly, how interested you're going to be. It's like, what did it do today? You know, and I want you to remember this. When the token goes down, you only have a loss when you sell. If it goes down and you didn't sell, you don't have a loss because you haven't consummated it. You know, you haven't cashed it out. Just keep hanging on, you know. And if it goes down and you just put in $10 and it goes down to 30 cents, man, now put in $10. That, you know, start averaging your cost and bringing your total cost down.
And I would like to inject on something real quick about that, right? Also, in regards to taxes, everybody, right? So, for instance, let's say when you sell your crypto, for instance, especially if it is at a profit, right, you get taxed on it. What about this? You know, on certain ones, like I said, you know, not everything, right? Don't marry everything. For the most part, have a real plan, have a spreadsheet. But, you know, we're talking about Ripple's XRP, even my Quant, stuff like that, my Stellar. The way I look at it is, what if I just decide that it's just that I want to earn a yield on these? So if I don't sell the particular asset, right, and I'm earning a yield, then that's a taxable yield. But it's not taxable, you get what I'm saying, on the original asset, right, that I hold.
Right.
You know, if you, like, for instance, you know, if you hold 50,000 XRP or whatever the case be, or 1,000, you sell against that original invested amount that you have, then that's taxable, right? But if you just held it, for instance, and, you know, some of you guys are not going to do that. I get it. But some of you guys are going to earn yields on your Quant, your XRP, Stellars, HBARs, XDCs, and so on. And is that so bad? Is it so bad to get taxed on passable income? So you get to keep that principal, right, and still earn a yield. Yeah. Is that so bad? To me, it's worse.
I want to answer
the traditional one. You get what I'm saying?
I want to talk about what Paul Smith said here, because he's got a good point. It's going to take a lot of unity to break through the big whales selling. But I want you to think about this. The retail investors, including the whales right now, if you include everybody that's in it right now as the retail investors, because that's mostly what we see, that is going to be the tiniest portion of trillions of dollars coming into this. When trillions come in through usage, not through buying and holding. See, buying and holding would make it volatile, because then you would have people selling, right? But what's happening is it's throughput. It's a billion here, shooting through the system, getting over here, you know, a couple hours later, a billion's offloaded. But it's billions and billions and billions and trillions and trillions and trillions doing that. So there's a constant value that's being held there. So because the retail investor is going to be the smallest portion, and the price is going to get so high, it's not going to make a dent. Right now, if everybody sold, it would go to zero, right? Well, when it's $58,000 a coin, if everybody right now sold at the, you know, it's only going to make a 50-cent difference. So as it gets bigger, the proportion that the retail investor holds becomes smaller. You know, they're going to rush in, and there's going to be a lot, but there's going to be a ton of staking too. And XRP is not going to allow it to have a volatility that's going to make it unusable. I guarantee you that there's an algorithm to stabilize the coin based on the amount that's moving, and you know that they're smart enough to project what people are going to do when they're going to sell it. They're smart enough to think about that. They're smart enough to stabilize it. They didn't create this genius thing and then be like, oh, we didn't think about that. They thought about it, man. So I'm not worried that we're going to have whales sell and like it's going to dive off far, because it's going to have volatility, but the volatility, you know, is going to be even greater than the 50 cents it has now. You know what I'm saying? Because the proportion is going to be so much more giant, and there's so much more money, then it kind of shrinks the amount of money that's represented by the retail through growing it on the other end. So I just wanted to say that. So it will be volatile, Paul, because all of them are going to have volatility. It's going to go up and down, in other words, but it's not going to be a tremendous amount. I think it'll be like we're super rich or richer.
And speaking of
broke.
and speaking of volatility and what goes up and down, currently we have 167 people on the live combined with both streams. Please smash that like if you haven't done so already. That's all we kindly ask to do. I mean, none of this costs you any money. Maybe we could tick up into 170s. Just going to read a few more comments, starting from over on this side.
I'm going to have to tap out.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, you said you want to go about an hour.
Wonderful wife.
Yeah.
She's worth more than all the money in the world.
Worth more than all the XRP in the world.
I'll trade every XRP in the world for her.
There you go.
I love to spend time with her. She is a jewel. We've been married for a while, she's wonderful. I've got to go spend time with her. It's like gold. Okay.
There you go. Well, people say they want their XRP backed by gold.
Yeah. Listen, I love you. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you tomorrow when we look at the channel and just we're just blessed, man. I'm so grateful and thankful for every one of y'all that show up and watch the show. And I just want to say good night to everybody. I can't do it individually because that would take another hour.
Right. That's what I'm here for, right? No, I'll still be here with you guys. I still have some additional coverage, as you guys know. We're going to talk about XRP and the Rothschilds, but you can't thank Will Fix enough. You guys will see more of them, obviously. And like I mentioned, our two channels are, let's face it, they're kind of like unified, if you will. Yeah, we complement each other. So again, thank you guys. Hopefully everybody from that's here at Maximus Crypto or Will Fix's channel sticks around because we still got some more coverage to get into, and we'll get into some of your questions and comments. So
all righty.
We'll let this man go.
Roll you up a fatty of some hopium, take you a fat hit. And I learned you're not supposed to pass it to the right. Somebody told me you're supposed to pass it, or not to the left. You're supposed to pass it to the right.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Because Thanksgiving, you got to pass it a certain way around the table. We're not advocating drugs. We're advocating hope. But since they call it hopium, duh. All right. Good night, everybody. All right. Have a great night, Will.
All right, buddy.
All right. So, that was awesome. Being able to have Will Fix here on the live show. I hope you guys appreciate it. Hopefully the channel or the live stream doesn't take a nosedive right now. We still have a lot to get into. If this is your first time ever tuning in, I would like to share some of my key findings. So, Will Fix brings a certain element that only he can bring, but I'm also going to try to, bring to you guys a little bit more of what we have tonight. So before we get into that, we are now going to get back into the comments. So first thing we're going to do is just read a few more comments from his channel. There's a few people who have some questions. I want to get into that. I want to definitely recognize some of your questions. So basically, let's see here. Crypto Illuminati says, we'll subscribe to your channel too, Max. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I want to welcome Kathy Spanan. I can't pronounce it right. Sapansky. Sorry. Welcome. Glad to have you guys here. Appreciate you guys. Let's read a few more questions. Crypto Illuminati. He says, did you guys really think that XRP can reach 58K? Around what year you think it might reach that target if everything goes according to plan? My thing is this. I'll just be honest, right? I don't know about 58K. Force printing that's amazing, right? And of course that was pulled off, and that's verifiable. You guys can look more into that if you choose to do so. But for me, I mean, even if Ripple goes to $1,000, like, who isn't more than good? I mean, I understand for different people, it depends on your entry point. I think my first bag of Ripple's XRP was like 32 cents. Some of you guys are way old schooler than me, like Selma Flood, Legrand Commission, some of you other guys and so on, Henry Brown, right? Henry Brown's been into XRP since 2019. So when we talk about when moon, it's literally like, yeah, when. But the key thing is, it also depends on how much XRP you have and how long you're willing to hold it. Back to that original question. So again, I mean, 58K sounds amazing. Not saying it can't do it, but I'm looking at more from the perspective of like Also, what some other solid content creators have mentioned. Not to say that Will Fix isn't solid. I mean, you're kidding me? I love Will Fix. But I seen other statements like I think it was Lewis Jackson, Crypto Lulu, right? Great content creator. And he was talking about, for instance, like over 10,000 in XRP. Some other guys that cover that. So to me, that's a little bit more consistent. But even at 1,000, I mean, that I'm going to be like a multi-millionaire just off of XRP. What about my quants? What about my XDCs? What about my Stellar? You know, so. And some people say, well, you know, I want to put so much into just one. I think I saw a comment earlier. Somebody was like, hey, man, I think QNT is the way to go. I put more focus on QNT. It's not financial advice. You got to do what you got to do. But this solidifies the whole notion, at least for me, that I'm glad I'm diversified in some of these. You know, my Casper, I have to admit, I'm kind of stretched a little thin on that. But, you know, I would reach my goals at some particular point in regards to that. But I don't think necessarily that you have a case where all these fire off, you know, on all cylinders all at once. I do think, like, for instance, Ripple will have his time, Quant will have his time. But whatever the case be, it's like this still, you know, this theory, if you will, of being diversified. I think that pounds that home that much more. I'll read a few more comments from Will Fix's side of the chat, and then we'll kick it back into ours. John Havens, let the man talk. Say more will come. We know that you appreciate us, but would like to hear what you have to say. I don't know if you're referring to me or him. Sorry about that. You guys got to keep in mind, this is his first time he's doing live stream. So, I mean, obviously, naturally, really, you know, a little excited for that. Greg, or actually not Greg. Let's start off with David Shee. Will, okay, that was a question to him. You can have a chance to answer that. So maybe you can remember that in the future. I'll try to remember to mention that to him. Let's read one more. Greg Dogs, anyone got a hold on Ripple's white paper on their website? It's hard to download. Have been in a financial entity to download it. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Peaky Blinders, love the name. Love the cool Kool-Aid you got there. Sounds good. If there are 100 billion XRP owned between holders and 20,000 banks with 20 trillion equally on the ledger, the price of XRP would be? That's a great question. I'll have to break that down a little bit more. On that one, I'll probably just take a screenshot if I can remember that real quick, because we'll get back into that. Because I also want to respect, not that I'm avoiding the question, but I also want to respect some more of you guys' questions, you know. All right, so let me select that real quick. I'm just going to save that question. That's a good one. Good question. All right. Let's read a few more questions. Let's see here. TK, if there's settlement but no regulations, will the price move up to all-time highs or double digits, or will we have to wait for regulations even if there's a settlement for real price movement? The way I look at it, we are so close to having not just a victory, but like a full victory, right? Like, you know, currently speaking, it's a 2/3 victory. So that in itself, I mean, I think we do get back to the previous all-time highs and then some. If we have a settlement before, for instance, what we talked about earlier in regards to ISO 222, the taste of implementation, it's possible during that time, but I'm not going to say it is. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to say not. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say a little bit more towards 2024. But it's definitely worthy of a mention. You know, with that 2/3 victory for Ripple, that was, you know, the price we saw touch 90 cents. You know what I mean? Didn't get over $1 or anything like that. You guys also keep in mind, what was it back in 2018, 2019? I can't remember. $3.84 for Ripple's XRP. So time will tell in that regard. But for me, I realize for some people, it's like, hey, you know, 384 is a big deal. $4, $5 is a big milestone. Even $1 is a big milestone. For me, it's just, okay, I'll recognize the milestone, but I'm not even going to make it that big of a deal at $10. But once we get more into the $100 and $1,000 and so on, I think it's going to be a big deal. Absolutely big deal. All right, just read a couple more from the other side of things. CJ Morissette, and that's okay. I mean, if you laugh at me, I'm not going to get all butthurt about it. Let's see here. LOL, 1,000 XRP, no way. Maybe 300 again, and hyperinflation with US dollars losing massive value. This is where I state this, right? Okay, and that is the presented material. Now, yesterday we talked about Quant. All right. And I know this is a Ripple XRP segment still, and rightfully so. But when you see things of statements of $10 trillion just off of what? Just off of JP Morgan on that side of things. And we did do the whole thing of the Quant connection. You guys don't believe me? Check it out for yourself, right? So many people take my research and they'll just look at the thumbnail, they'll dismiss it. They won't even watch the presented material. If you're real serious about this stuff, watch the presented material. If you don't have time for it, then I don't know what to say. You know, all I can do is just present it. I'm not going to hype it. I'm going to speak for itself. If people still aren't on board with it, hey, that's fine too. But my thing is, if JP Morgan itself, just off of $10 trillion, you know, daily, okay, wow. And then we saw that Citi connection. How do we know the Citi connection? Well, Citi is partnered up with Quant. Citi has a thing called RLM network, and that also activates the whole thing of JP Morgan. So that's a big deal in itself. What about when we get Bitcoin spot ETFs going? You don't think that we're going to see more assets tokenized? We don't have to have all assets tokenized. You know, some people say, well, Max, you can't expect to see the full $10 trillion worth of, you know, what BlackRock is going to bring in to be tokenized. Okay, I'm with you. Let's just say it's 10%. So that's in itself literally matches or doubles, I should say, the current overall crypto market. You know, if you look at CMC stats or even CoinGecko or whatever outlet you use. What about when you get State Street on board, Vanguards, all these other ones, 20, you know, Bitcoin spot ETFs. And oh, by the way, speaking of which, you know, I know that you guys haven't seen this. There's some deadlines coming up. I think one deadline's tomorrow for roughly 10 or so ETFs. There's another one for the remainder of 5. So there's at least 15 Bitcoin spot ETFs for the SEC to, you know, like they got to do something, right? Approve some of these. What happens after that? Okay, that's one thing. What about the whole thing of ISO 222 in November? The beginning of the implementation. That's another thing. What about the whole thing of this big announcement in January with maybe the real Satoshi or whoever he is, right? That's another thing. What about, you know, what we talked about earlier, Japan, yen-denominated stablecoins and stuff like that. That's another thing. April, Bitcoin halving. So all I'm saying is there's so much evidence to support, even if you're like, I don't know, I'm not on board on any of this, that will say, okay, you don't have to be on board because you want to know something? The institutions are on board and they just need to tokenize like not even 10%. We can even lowball it further from there, 5%. What does that do for the overall crypto market? Without even researching any of this stuff, what does that do for the overall crypto market? What does it do for you for any of the particular assets that you hold? So we could talk all day long till we're blue in the face about some of these crazy price levels and so on. But my thing is, and even with the examples that Will Fix gave earlier, it's going to take a heck of a lot of, like the money being moved, there's no way that it's stuck at 52 cents or even a few dollars. And if it's a difference of opinion, it's difference of opinion. You know, at the end of the day, none of it's financial advice. All right. I'm going to read, I think, just one more from the other side. Excuse me about that. Peter says, bro, I have 10 Q&T. Is that enough? Not to sound like I do. Absolutely. I've told people in the past, Peter, that you have to keep in mind that it's how long you hold it. So you believe that Q&T, for instance, you know, goes to even just 10,000 minimum. That's my thing. I think it's 10,000 minimum. Not financial advice. That's just the way I personally look at it. I mean, come on. That's $100,000 worth of Q&T for it. If you hold it for, you're like, well, I believe it's going to go to 100,000. Well, guess what? For all the naysayers to say there's no way, look at this for a second. And I'll just leave it with this. Quant, 14.88 million Q&T, significantly less compared to BTC. Interoperability for 100 plus blockchains, right? All the things they got going with APIs, you name it, all across the board, literally in everything, tech type of technology. BTC was able to 69K with not even a drop in the bucket when it comes to utility. Doesn't have the thousands of use cases. It's considered a vintage antique type of technology, like investing in a Model T, which, don't get me wrong, an investment into a real Ford Model T apparently is worth $110,000. Look more into it. But should we treat BTC like that? That is basically an antique, and I mentioned that the other day. Anyway, and we have different opinions. Okay, I mean, the way I look at it is I'm not gonna get upset about it and so on. So, all right, back to Maximus Crypto real quick. Let's look at some of the comments here. Still have quite a few people watching. 76 likes over here on Maximus Crypto, 82 over at Will Fix, 94 people watching over on Will Fix, 60 over on Maximus Crypto. Thank you so much for being here. And what we're going to do is read a few more comments before we kick it into the next bit of our coverage. We have obviously super late in the comments, but obviously we have good problems, right? I've always stated in the past, sometimes it's really cool to have good problems. That sounds like an oxymoron, but in reality, we have some good problems. So getting into a few more comments, obviously can't welcome everybody. But Luis, welcome back. Kyun Chung, welcome back. Todd Pugh, welcome. Glad to have you guys here. Let's see here. Crypto Info, DYOR, it's the greatest wealth transfer. I agree. Absolutely agree. And yeah, here's all the comments from the ones earlier. That's cool. Ronbo Omega, welcome back. Transfer wealth is in 2027. FSB has an article on it. Now you're doing dates. How about that? No, it's kidding. I'm busting your chops, man. Good to see you, Ronbo. Even though you don't agree with everything I say, hey, man, welcome. Glad to see you. And don't expect everybody to agree with everything I say. Do you think they're suppressing the price? They will do it as much as they can, and they will. And they'll do it as long as they possibly can. And I think there's been more than said about that. And proof in the pudding, yesterday's show, live stream, we covered that. The whole thing with JP Morgan, the whole thing of Jamie Dimon claiming that he, isn't into some of this stuff. It's a flat out lie. And I think we confirmed that literally on the show yesterday. Check out the Q&T segment. We get into that big time yesterday. All right, Damian Lowe, welcome. Glad to have you. Craig, Cool Cat Crypto. It's well known that Craig Wright with that Satoshi account. Okay. I mean, I hear you, man. Tim Shea, Max, the proper party was the XLM party in New York. There you go. All right, let's see here. We're going to read like maybe 3 more comments from Maximus Crypto. We'll kick it back into the coverage that we have for tonight. This is a good one from Crypto Winner. He says, a group of 35 shareholders of Ethereum Giant Consensus have filed for a special audit of a 2020 deal that saw JP Morgan Chase acquire an influential stake in two of its flagship products. All right. In regards to this question, Luna collapse was on Eclipse, FTX collapse on Eclipse. I wonder if it's another exchange that will collapse on the Saturday Eclipse. You never know. All right, let's read this as well. Legendary, just found your channel, new sub. Thank you so much. Whether it's on Maximus Crypto or Will's, it doesn't matter. Or both, we really appreciate it. Apparently the algorithm does occasionally work. Thank you very, very much. All right, just going to double check the other channel or both channels to see how we're doing, make sure I didn't miss anything. And let's see where we're at. I'm just going to hit the refresh real quick. All right. Let's see where we're at. We got a super chat from Salamander. Thanks, Will and Max. Buy more XRP. The 589 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. Let me see if I can even pull that up. Might not be able to, so hopefully you're cool with me just mentioning it, but if not, totally understand. I think I should be able to pull it up. Let me just scroll further down, and then we'll get back into our coverage of the night. I want to welcome Rick Cogswell. Glad to see you here, Rick. And Elon Musk with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Make it rain. Let's see here. All right. My bad. This is a good question before we get that super chat. It's from Dre44R. It's a cool looking avatar, by the way. Why choose XRP over Quant? I hold both, but heavier on the Q&T side. Q&T is literally in everything. I think this is a comment I was talking about earlier. XRP is limited to financial applications only. Looking to grow my XRP bag, but keep buying Quant. There's nothing wrong with that point of view. I think a lot of people look at it that way. I literally know people personally, even from the show, who look at it that way. And I'm glad that you're not just being a maxi on just Q&T. I mean, let's face it, there are some. But my key thing is you are looking at it from the perspective of like diversification, like you don't necessarily want to be, it's kind of like a sense of FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? You don't want to miss out on XRP either. All right, it's going to get down to that comment. Oh, it's from Brittany. My bad. $1.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, Ms. Brittany. Really appreciate you. And DNG with the $1.39 super sticker. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that as well. Let's see here. Here's a good question from Peaky Blinders. Oh, we read that earlier. My bad. Cool avatar, by the way. I always liked the Purple Source Kool-Aid. That was probably my favorite one when I was a kid. Will Fix is pumped. Great energy. Yeah, we're so blessed to have Will Fix here with both platforms. It's pretty awesome. All right. Let's just read a few more. Well, not a few more, but I'm just trying to get to that super chat real quick. Because I'm actually glad I did, because it tells me that I missed out on some of you guys' other super chats. So if you're wondering why am I doing this, that's why. Josh Davis, the right way is the wrong way, they say. That rhymes. All right. I'll read this real quick from Magic Power, because we always appreciate Magic Power. He states, from an investment perspective, because you will lose 60 to 95% again in the following bear market, especially if you assume a strong global recession and a dollar crash after 2025. It's a great perspective you have there. All right, this is from Salamander. Yes, thank you again, Will Fix and Max. Buy more XRP. Thank you so much. 589 super chat. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to kick it back into the next part of the coverage of tonight. It's a little bit more in regards to XRP. And then after that, we're going to get into some Quant. And then to round off the night will be a little bit of JASMY. So let's just get into it. Let's pull up the branding one more time. And here it basically is. It's kind of like a little bit of continuation of what we were talking about earlier, but a little bit different. So again, guys, let's have you please smash that like. Currently at 77 likes on MAXIMUSCRYPTO and 87 likes on Will Fixes. So here you go. And it talks about this right here. Hold on, I got to pull that up. Yeah, my bad. All right. Breaking. Okay, you may think, how is this breaking? Well, you're not going to be able to see it real clear right there, but I want to blow it up for you. This guy who goes by the name of Crypto Geek on crypto Twitter, now known as X, says official Rothchild financial fund statement mentions XRP and Ripple multiple times. Now, I want to state this real quick. Okay, if we're following money, which basically we are, the bottom line that you got to keep in mind is, you know, the whole concept of following big money. I do it all the time. A lot of you guys do it too, as well. You follow Watch Your Guru, you follow whale watchers, whale charts, whatever the case be. Now, it gets more into detail about this, and of course, I'm going to show you a little bit more blown up image about what we're talking about. You got to keep in mind it's a screenshot from a guy's cell phone, but we're going to share why this is, at least I think, important. So number one, I'm going to get into this, and it talks about this report of the activities of the SICAV, or SICAV, I don't know how to pronounce it. Mentions Edmund Day Rothschild. And if you're a newcomer when it comes to the concept of Rothschilds, just give you the quick gist. Know that the Rothschilds are well connected for literally hundreds and hundreds of years, if you will. People say that the Rothschild family run the world, well connected to the central banks of the world. So we're talking about, you know, the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, or Banque de France, which is the Bank of France. How they're like the oversight of the Bank of International Settlements and so on. At some point, somewhere, you're going to come across the conversation of, well, where does the Rothschilds come into the mix? And it's a great question. So there's this report, and it talks about the portfolio review and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to get into every single thing about this. But one thing that really caught my eye that was shared from here is this right here. And that is in regards to some of the key contributors in regards to like Japanese financial services. Remember earlier we were talking about it, SBI Holdings. But in regards to SBI Holdings, right, look what it says. Goes on to mention that the underlying equity rallied plus 60% during the period as the company was caught in the optimism surrounding cryptocurrencies. Were you aware that SBI owns 8.7% stake in Ripple's XRP, with volatility in the underlying equity rising, and the company's 2017 CB converted. The CB is also risen strongly. So it goes into some of these things. And what I also want to share with you is a little bit more about this whole thing from the Rothschilds, because it is Edmund de Rothschild's fund. It goes on to also mention, what was this part real quick, about some of the yields that they made, right? And everything they're invested into and so on. Again, I'm not going to talk your head off about it, but this was a highlight from this particular guy, and I'll jump back to it. Sorry about that. Crypto Geek, right? And when was this reported, if you're wondering? It was October 12th, 2023, right? So you may be wondering, like, the whole thing about the Rothschilds. And basically speaking, there's a lot, of course, to be mentioned. I'm going to show you a little video about them just real quick. But this part, and I didn't mean to skip over this, I apologize. It's about the fourth paragraph. It's kind of hard to see, so I'll come out of the frame for a second. Yeah, this will make it a little bit better for you. I wish I could blow it up a little bit bigger, but it's just going to look really smudged. It talks about the United States and how it's positioning themselves, and how there's this thing about disciplined profit taking, and they have this use of an index that puts the particular Rothschild fund and how it puts it into recovery, but also how they can earn a higher yield. And it gets more into some of these other key things, like talking about this. I think Will Fix talked about this earlier, about how back in 2017 there was an issuance was flat in the value terms, but grew 6% in volume in terms as like the pipeline was characterized by more smaller issues, particularly the United States, where issuance volume grew 28% on year by year, in addition to the first quarter. I mean, I know this a few years ago, but I want you to hear me out on this. The first quarter 2018 recorded the largest amount of primary activity in a decade, with 67 issues coming to market, totaling 26.8 billion. You got to keep in mind, even with Satoshi Nakamoto, he hasn't tweeted since 2018. So what's up with that? It goes more into about how, like, they invested into Japan. Remember how I gave you the example about Warren Buffett in Japan? So what I want to do now is I want to share this real quick with you guys. And of course, there's a Wikipedia thing about the Rothschild family, but the bottom line is 1 year ago, this guy did a really excellent job with this, I guess you could say, documentary style video. It's not super long. It's 8.5 minutes. And it talks about Ripple's XRP and how the Rothschild family owns what? A significant portion of just that XRP. So let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll share some other key findings that you might want to pay attention to. But the bottom line is this. It's basically this. Paying attention to what big money is doing, and especially the Rothschilds. Please smash the like if you appreciate the content. Here we go.
The Rothschild family have been a significant banking dynasty since the 1760s. Throughout the 19th century, the family could claim to have the largest private fortune in the world, and they developed their banking empire across Europe. At one point, they were said to control half of the money in the world. The family's Jewish origins have attracted anti-Semitism and many conspiracy theories over the years, mainly because they dominate various industries and financial institutions.
On this channel, we've talked about how SBI Holdings has a significant stake in Ripple. Something else that we've discussed in previous videos is how the Rothschild family virtually owns half of the SBI holdings. But you know what? The Rothschild Group isn't the only business conglomerate interested in Ripple and partnering with them. We now have the Japanese mega bank Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group, who just acquired a major stake in the company SBI Holdings, a major stakeholder in Ripple and XRP. We even have an article from U.Today that says John Deaton believes that Japanese mega bank acquisition of stake in SBI Holdings could be bullish for Ripple. But that's not what we will majorly talk about today. I want us to explore the possibilities of the Rothschild family being in control of more than half of the world's money. On top of that, we will look at whether or not the Rothschilds own a significant portion in Ripple and XRP. Over the years, there have been countless rumors about the massive foothold the Rothschilds have in the pockets of Europe, North America, and other parts of the world. We'll get more into that shortly, but before that, let's roll that beautiful intro. As always, welcome back to Moneyside, your favorite crypto news channel. If you're new here, welcome to the XRP Army. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our daily crypto news updates.
They are said to have manipulated the gold market for over 2 centuries. In 2004, the Rothschilds officially pulled out of the gold market. But prior to that, they ran N.M. Rothschild, which was established in 1810. The company would host meetings twice a week and essentially set the world's gold price with the help of other firms, such as HSBC and the Deutsche Bank. The day that N.M. Rothschild announced it would close its doors, the price of gold fell by $7 an ounce.
The elites and the bigwigs in the market know just how great XRP is about to become. Therefore, they will stop at nothing to ensure you don't buy in. Not just yet, at least. They want to first secure a significant amount of these coins before the rest of you can. All the same, keep in mind that these guys don't want to keep holding on to XRP and other asset classes, the fate which has faced many people who have been holding on to XRP for many years now. That is why they will always stage a massive sellout through market sentiment. They use the media, which they own, by the way, to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, allowing a chance to buy into the asset classes that they are interested in. This is exactly how the major players buy out the coins from unsuspecting hodlers at a cheap price.
Why don't you own apartment buildings? Seriously, why don't you own these big apartment buildings? And I get
When they've secured what they need, they proceed to instigate the fear of missing out, FOMO, which then drives the prices back up. And as we have seen from that video, the Rothschilds have so much influence in the financial market. If they can manipulate the gold market for over 2 decades, I bet they would seamlessly drive the price of any asset class that they'd like to. There have also been rumors that the Rothschilds dominate half of Europe and even the United States of America. Think about it. The most profitable bank in the world is owned by the Rothschilds. The same goes for the most profitable oil refineries, shipping groups, as well as the largest media powerhouses. It's also worth noting that they own the railway transportation that promoted industrial revolutions in Europe and the US. And if that's not enough, keep in mind that gold and diamonds are the family's traditional strengths.
Today, the Rothschilds' vast fortune is the topic of just as many myths as there are stars in the sky. Some sources claim the wealthiest family owns about 500 trillion US dollars. That's, however, not just hard to believe, but practically impossible, since the whole world's capital is estimated to be around 1 to 2 quadrillion. So a family controlling quarter to a half of the entire world's money is beyond crazy. Most sources estimate their wealth at around 500 billion to 1 trillion USD. That's about 2 to 4 times more than the following wealthiest individual, Elon Musk. Although the primary source of the Rothschilds' fortune are their banks, over the years they've branched out in mining, transport, real estate, art, and stocks as well. They have a minority share in the Suez Canal, and legend says they have 30% shares in all major banks worldwide. While I highly doubt the latter, the Rothschilds clearly won't end up leaving under the bridge anytime soon.
As we continue exploring today's main topic, there's been evidence that the Rothschild family has purchased a significant stake in SBI Holdings. There's a report published in March of 2018, which indicates that the Edmund Rothschild, an armed business controlled by the extensive Rothschild family, is a parent company to the SBI Group. Now, you have to keep in mind that SBI is one of the most significant external shareholders in Ripple Labs. In addition, Ripple owns a substantial share, at least 1/3 of their entire stake, on MoneyTap. This is one of the subsidiary companies owned by SBI Group. One thing's for sure, we may never be able to directly link the Rothschild family to Ripple and XRP, but as you all know, this is expected, as the family is very good at hiding their colossal wealth. All in all, there's one thing here that we can't dispute, and that's the fact that Ripple and XRP is a corporate project. What does that mean? Ripple and XRP is designed for the large financial corporations, which in essence are owned by the Rothschilds. Collectively, the Rothschild is believed to be worth a couple of $1 trillion. That's with a T. However, we wouldn't be surprised to find out that the family owns even more than that. According to some experts, XRP's potential might bring it to the same level of industry acceptance and respect as Bitcoin, the gold standard of cryptocurrencies currently, and Ethereum, the most popular altcoin. But right now, a lot of other cryptocurrencies are more popular and have a larger market valuation than it. The company's expanding number of collaborations, minimal fees, and the speed with which Ripple transactions are processed all help it acquire market share and prestige. There's even an article by Forbes from 2018 which states that Ripple could be the next Bitcoin. Unfortunately, a lot has changed since then, including the emergence of numerous additional cryptocurrencies as competitive substitutes for peer-to-peer payments and international transactions. One statement made by Roman Gefley Gibbs of Pinnacle Brilliant Systems to Forbes, though, hasn't changed since the article's publication. Of course, with crypto, anything can happen, so watch attentively. Experts were still arguing about whether or not XRP may overtake Bitcoin or Ethereum as of April of this year. It's quite unlikely, according to experts at the Motley Fool Canada, that XRP will gain enough popularity to overtake either of the top two cryptocurrencies. However, Ripple is still a massive investment opportunity because of its development potential. Additionally, there is a significantly reduced barrier to entry, which may appeal to many investors who are just dipping a figurative toe into the cryptocurrency waters. Even if XRP is never as valuable or well known as Bitcoin, it may still be a smart investment with a promising future. As always, do your own research and always trade safely, guys.
All right, glad to share that with you guys. The main reason I want to share that with you is to give you a broader sense of the Rothschilds and so on. So I'm going to present this to you guys, a little bit more details about the Rothschilds and draw your own conclusion in regards to the presented material. So for one, I want to share this from this screen. It talks about, obviously, Chris Larsen. We're going to get into the whole thing with Rothschilds. So we will mention this real quick. And basically speaking, that you have this case where, there's Chris Larsen back in the day, where obviously where he went from there, right? But, states that he currently owns the most XRP, according to reports. This is back from, 2022, okay? According to reports, Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's current CEO, holds a 6% stake in the company. A participant will have 53,337 XRP at the start of each day if all members have the minimum amount. Basically, since April 2022, listen to this, the Rothschild Investment Corporation has increased its exposure to BTC, but RIT, which is a London-based cryptocurrency company, has invested in Ripple, and it says it's a company that specializes, of course, in cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, in regards to the Rothschilds, Jacob Rothschild, one of RIT's largest shareholders, owns 12% of the company. Ripple, of course, owns 60% of XRP and is valued, at least at that time, at $16 billion, a lot higher now, right? Where are we at? 28, 29 billion. Going more into this about the whole thing of the Rothschilds and so on, I want you to see this, and I want you to think outside the box for a change. Not saying that you don't, right? That doesn't sound right. So my thing is this. Were you aware, according to a 2023 Forbes report, the Rothschild family, because again, we're talking about 58,000 and XRP, according to Forbes. Again, don't shoot the messenger, just sharing some of the news. According to that report, that family, the Rothschild family, worth 500 trillion. How recent was that posted? Well, it was only posted last August. So what was that, like not even a couple months ago? Talks about the Rothschild family with a net worth of 20 trillion, basically deemed the world's wealthiest by Forbes. Again, back to Forbes. They, of course, have discreetly influenced the global economy, to say the least, right? And, of course, there's been events that range within their family for over 300 years. Now, back to this whole thing of Jacob Rothschild. I want you to listen to this. He alone holds 5 trillion, which sounds insane. Some people say, though, that's not the case. The richest man in the world is this particular guy, or Elon Musk, for instance. Again, you got to keep in mind, what about total assets and some of these other things, right? So that's something to be mentioned as well. But we are talking about the Rothschilds. We did give you an example of Jacob Rothschild. So the whole thing has a robust history about their banks and dating back to the Napoleonic Wars. I mean, crazy history, right? But here's the report that you really need to see. Net worth is 20 trillion for that family. Annual income, 690 billion. Luxury mansions, 1,800 plus. Land owned, 60,000 square miles. Private jets, 100 plus. Gold reserves, 45 billion. Luxury yachts, 60. I mean, on and on and on and on, right? You get tired of hearing about it. Talked about the part in the video about, the whole thing of being of Jewish descent. That's not the point. The main point that you want to take away from this is, again, up here, the net worth. And when we talk about the whole thing of tokenized assets and so on, we want to keep pounding that home. For the last month or so, I've been talking a lot about tokenized assets, especially when it comes to, Quant connection. But, we are giving you a little taste of the whole thing with XRP. We're giving other examples of other particular projects. But my key thing is there enough evidence to support the tokenization of big name families or, institutions like your BlackRocks? So your takeaway should be this: the Rothschilds, the BlackRocks, the Vanguards, all this institutional money. Again, 20 trillion with this particular family. You better believe that they are well connected. And what about the tokenization of their particular assets? I mean, my God, you have that entering into the overall crypto market and so on. What does that do for what you have, and especially why you hold it? Showing you guys, of course, just a tad bit more in regards to this before we close out the XRP segment. I'll share this. The Rothschild family business list. Were you aware that the Rothschild family itself holds investments, of course, in several of the world's major corporations, many of which were, of course, founded by Jewish individuals? According to Forbes, both directly and indirectly, the Rothschild family possesses substantial shares in the following companies, and here they are: Facebook, Google. Right off the top of the surface right there, that's huge. Because, whether you're for JASMY or not, I talk a lot about JASMY. And I understand that if you have industrial or, particular projects are going to disrupt the industry that needs to be disrupted, right? A decentralized data marketplace that disturbs who? Facebook and Google. Isn't that a big deal? Now, we also talk about Amazon, Apple, and so on. Well, look at this. They're part of Goldman Sachs, Oracle, Starbucks, Dell Computers, Baskin and Robbins. Who doesn't like Baskin Robbins? Maybe you don't like the Baskin Robbins. Maybe you're like, man, it's a ripoff. I don't know. But they're in everything. Everything. Airbnb, Uber, Intel. Talks about a little bit more about their net worth, right? Even back at the turn of the century. Look at this jump real quick before we end this. Rothschild family net worth 2023 were 20 trillion as of last August. Look what it was back in the year 2000, 500 billion. So the key takeaway for you should be, what are they investing in? Because they're doing something right. So I don't care what naysayer there is out there that says, it's just it'll never be above $5 or 10. There's just no way. I don't care about that. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. My thing is, I'm going to follow the big money, and the big money points to some of these ones: the Rothschilds, the BlackRocks, and so on. And when you see this new narrative, this new shift to some of this, you just go literally, like, as Mike Cornwell would say, math don't lie. I can add some of this up, and I can have an idea, even though it sounds like just crazy when we talk about the market cap. But want to know something? Some people thought we were crazy when it came to BTC. Back in 2010, freaking $1 or $5, right? A perfect example is Charlie Shrem, part of the Bitcoin Foundation, literally invested into BTC since $5. Look how that turned out for him. So again, guys, these are just examples, and we'll always show you some examples. And hopefully you do appreciate that coverage for tonight. Getting into the next bit of coverage that we have for you tonight at Maximus Crypto, combined with Will Fix, is some of that QNT. So QNT is your thing. Make sure you stick around for that particular segment. Please smash that like if you haven't done so. And if you're a newcomer who's like, man, this is pretty cool content, I like this, please share it. Really appreciate it. All right. Getting more into a few more comments and so on before we kick it into the next segment. I want to read this from, let's see here. I'll read this. That's okay. CJ Morissette. That's at 7-Eleven. 50K. I think I read this earlier. 58K is insane unless it's through hype. I think I did read that earlier, and it's all right. You know what? I appreciate your opinion. You could be a guy that's not on board on it. Hey, it's all right. But we do appreciate you in the comments. Thank you so much. Legendary says 1K XRP. You're going to ghost everybody. Like, hey man, I don't got no money. I get it. Because you know what? Let's face it, guys. Some people will come out of the woodwork. You're going to know about some, hey man, I'm a Cliff. Who's Cliff? Oh yeah. I'm Becky's sister's aunt's uncle, like twice annulled. What? Yeah, well, anyway, long story short, I heard you came upon a bunch of money through crypto. Those conversations are going to happen in the future. All right, let's read this from Polygon. Like your name, like your dog. That looks cool. 1K over what period of time? I know it's hard to say. Just saying. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know when that is especially going to be. But what excites me the most is when I hear about mandates and when I hear about, full implementation, November 2025. Sure, could it get delayed? Absolutely. But what's one thing that we have seen? At some point, you will get to the point where the central banks of the world especially will have to use this technology because that's a mandate. For me, I'm not so gung-ho about implementation. I'm more gung-ho about utility in motion with full-scale, full implementation, a mandate. A mandate is the flip of the switch. That's basically the interpretation. Because that tells me, it's one thing to give options for these banks and they don't use it. And then there's another thing to say, yep, you got to use it. And it's like, we're sold on the whole notion of utility, which I think most of us are. Then you have an idea like, wow, if garbage Ethereum was able to activate what? Utility all the time. And you don't believe me, look at the Mark Cuban example. Ethereum used for meme tokens, ERC20s, Ethereum used for NFTs. But again, the annoying gas fee. Right, gas fee is so expensive on Ethereum, outdated old tech. What about the new tech? What about that utility in motion? Just because we never seen crazy market cap before with these particular assets doesn't mean it won't happen. I'm so excited about the utility run. I think a lot of you guys are excited about it too. All right. Let's read a few more from Corey Bibe, aka Scam. Could you imagine $50 QNT back up the truck moment? Yeah. I haven't seen QNT at those prices levels since we first covered it at $40. All right, let's see here. Let's read this from Dingy. I haven't said hello to you tonight, Dingy. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you. Do you really think all projects will make it? We diversify to land maybe on some that make it. All right, how about this? Really think about this for a second. I know, like people like Crypto, was it Wendy O? She makes a great point. Should we really honestly believe that everything's going to make it? Right. Not everything's going to make it. But my thing is, why not just research the ones that are going to make it, and the research further solidifies just that. The use case. If you draw any like gray areas where you're like, too speculative or too much building, well, maybe you go more towards other particular assets that you're very convinced on. None of it's financial advice, but that would be one way I would go about it. Like I think Hedera is absolutely solid and then some. I think Stellar is solid and then some. I do like the idea, some people may not like the idea, but I do like the idea that technically speaking, you could state that Ripple's XRP competes with Stellar. How do we know that? Well, the examples that we gave a few days ago in regards to, the David Schwartz presentation that you have EVM side chains and, this support is going to be big for Ripple. We also talk about Flare, for instance. With Flare, that is a solution for smart contract functionality, not just for what Ripple needs, but many other blockchains. I mean, to a sense, like, that's why I was like, you can kind of compare it to Quant. Not fully, and we did a breakdown about that. But look at the price of Flare. I mean, a few days ago, it was at all-time lows. I think it might be on all-time lows as we speak. And I get the whole thing like, well, do you want to wait a couple of years for it to build out? I'm ready to wait in a couple of years. So the way I look at it is I always want to get in ones in which it's like, wow, can I buy bottom? And I did. And I'm glad about that. And I'm committed to that. So my thing is this, like you said, we diversify to land maybe on some of that make it, or really think about all the projects that are going to make it. Not all projects will make it, but it's the garbage ones will get filtered out on its own. Like, let's face it, guys, most of the meme tokens and so on. Like, do we still get the Cokes and Pepsis? They still stick around? I think so. This is why I haven't gotten rid of my second bag of Dogecoin. I know it sounds crazy. I had this conversation with Will Fix. And basically speaking, the way I look at it is, what if Doge was used as like a reward token, right? Not necessarily use it for cross-border payments. Like, that sounds silly. But I'm talking about from the perspective of, like Axie Infinity. People held Axie Infinity and boom, oh my gosh, it did amazing in 2021, the last bull market. What about people that held, for instance, Smooth Low Potion, which is part of that whole thing, right? Should we actually look at Doge in that same light? I don't know. Maybe people agree with me or people don't, but my thing is, it's just another one. Like, I'm not sweating it, but yeah, meme tokens, no utility in the future. Man, you're talking about your days are limited with that. Yeah. I mean, there's only one I actually will even think about getting into, and that's the whole Jesus token. Because it's got 100% score. All right. Gonna double check the other screen real quick, see how we're doing. And I think we're doing fine for the most part. Gowana is here. Let me give you a heart back. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let me just read that real quick. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed the gifted membership that somebody gave you, I think, the other day. Let's see here. Let me just scroll down. Lots to get into. Learn and evolve. Thank you, man. Paying your tuition. All right. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat from Darius Magruder with the $2 super chat. Really appreciate it. AKA Learn and Evolve. Check out his channel, guys. Learn and Evolve. He's going to start making more content and so on at some particular point. Paying tuition. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Peaky Blinders. Really appreciate that as well. All you guys. What is Jasmine into this week? Cucumber farmers. What the heck? There's nothing wrong with cucumbers. Do I think Elon will come out and talk about XRP? I think when the timing is right. You got to keep in mind, I mean, if he came out and talked about anything, I mean, he can literally move things, right? He could also move things in a negative way. Look what happened on Saturday Night Live, right? So I think when it's the right time, you'll see something about that. All right, let's see here. Glenn Cassell, first-time viewer of your live chat and love it. Thank you. Really appreciate that, man. That's probably when Will Fix was here. All right, so let's see here. Let's go further down. We have, for instance, CJ Morissette, not to be confused with Alanis Morissette. The next crisis is either a power grid. It's a power grid outage. So, another thing, right? Even if you don't know about Jasmine, I do deep dives in regards to a particular person. His name is Tadashi Morita, and he came up with a particular patent in regards to DC microgrid technology and how it's going to benefit Society 5.0. And that's another project I cover a lot. And when you get more into it, for at least for me, it's just like it kind of, catches some people's attention because you understand the greater picture of what Japan is trying to do. Let's read it from Bullish Rhino. CJ, we're all dead in a matter of time. I mean, God, what a way to. I hear you on that, but it's just like, what about baby on board? Oh, look at the little baby. You're going to be dead in a matter of time. Jeez, that's a breath of fresh air. Well, congratulations on the baby. Then the woman has a baby shower. She's so excited. Hey, come to my baby shower. Look at your baby. Just going to be dead in a matter of time. Gee, you're a lot of fun. We're all going to be dead in a matter of time. I'm just saying. Why am I doing that voice? It's my weird fat bastard from back in the day. Anyway, sorry. All right. We're going to read a few more comments, and then we're going to get into the Q&T segment here in a bit. All right. So I need to read the super chat real quick. I'm trying to get to it. There's a lot of comments. It's good problems that we have tonight. GG, good to see you. He says all the link is just noise. Yeah, I'm not going to get involved in that anymore. They're still using bridges versus Q&T using gateways that are far more secure. I hold both, though. All right. Goanna, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thank you both. Love your stuff. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Goanna. And hopefully you are enjoying your gifted membership on this particular channel. We'll never say anything about people being freeloaders. I couldn't believe it. You know who I'm talking about if you know who that guy is. Saying that people were freeloaders for getting gifted memberships. That is the most absurd thing I ever heard of. It's like, what do you do at Christmas time? You know? You get mad at all the kids because they got presents. I mean, that's just, anyway, never mind. I don't want to go after other influencers. All right. Let's see here. Maximus, stop interrupting. Well, you got to keep in mind it was the first time, and I have to mention it, but if you don't like that, okay, I get it. All right, so let's see here. I have to inject at some point, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you got to keep in mind, there is times we have to let people know to hit the like. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Wait like an hour and be like, well, hey, I don't need to interrupt. I just don't need to say anything at all. I'm just going to sit here in this little box screen and say nothing. Zilch. No, I got to interrupt at some point. All right, so let's see here. The Titan show. I'm not saying I was trying to say that disrespectfully. I mean, if that, I don't know. You got to do what you got to do. The Titan show. Hey, everyone. Glad to have you here as well. And let's see here. Marar Steve, did you say something about Jasmy coin? I will towards the end. We're not quite there yet. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get back into the last bit of our comments or coverage. We have Tim Shea, who gifted 5 Maximus Crypto memberships. And I guess apparently it is at random. So I will announce this real quick. We have Joshua. You were gifted a membership. Congratulations. By the way, Tim Shea, that was very nice of you. Thank you very much. JVU 420 as well. Travis, Magic Stations, and Boiler Jones. Thank you so much. All right. Getting more into this, we have 57 people watching on Maximus Crypto, and on Will Fix 54. So we're still doing pretty good. All right. What we're going to do now is going to jump into the QNT coverage of the night. And if QNT is your thing, hopefully you enjoy this. It's not going to be a super long deep dive, but it'll be pretty good. Let me pull up the right one. Sorry about that. Here we go. This one's a little bit more HD for you. And please give me a follow over at DPG Maximus on crypto Twitter, now known as X. All right. I'm going to pull this up. It's going to close out some tabs real quick. Kind of reload some things for you guys. All right, let's get into it. So here it is straight from the one and only constructiontrader.eth. And it is blockchain interoperability. Now, please give him a follow. He always has lots of great updates. If you use crypto Twitter, always check out some of these guys. So yes, blockchain interoperability is massive, absolutely massive, and its role in the healthcare sector will be no exception. Now we know when it comes to Quant and when it comes to Gilbert Verdian, his wife, Laura Verdian, is big time proponent of, you know, the healthcare industry, and we know about some of her robust background. But if you don't know about it, that's okay. We'll get in that in a second. But I like this statement from constructiontrader.eth, and that is QNT Overledger will be at the heart, connecting everything seamlessly. This is 4 minutes, and then we're going to tie in some other things that you might not have been aware of when it comes to Quant and just that, healthcare, Laura Verdian, and so on. Please smash that like. Here we go.
Have you ever wondered how blockchain could revolutionize healthcare? Imagine a world where patients' medical records are secure, easily accessible, and interoperable across different healthcare systems, all thanks to blockchain technology. Blockchain, a type of distributed ledger technology, has been making waves in various industries, and healthcare is no exception. The healthcare industry today faces significant challenges: ensuring data security, maintaining patient privacy, and achieving system interoperability, to name a few. Blockchain, with its ability to securely store and share patient data, could be the solution we've been waiting for. It promises a future where patient data flows seamlessly between healthcare providers, improving care coordination and patient outcomes. Additionally, the transparency and immutability of blockchain records could enhance trust and accountability. Addressing concerns about data breaches and patient privacy, Indeed, the healthcare landscape is ripe for a blockchain revolution. As we delve deeper into this exciting new frontier, let's explore how this technology is already changing the face of healthcare. You might be curious about how blockchain is actually being used in healthcare today. Let's delve into some real-world case studies. Firstly, let's jet off to Estonia, a small Baltic nation leading the pack in digital innovation. In Estonia, blockchain technology is used nationwide in healthcare data management. This has resulted in enhanced data security, making breaches virtually impossible. Moreover, it has improved interoperability, which means different healthcare providers can access patient data seamlessly, fostering better collaboration and improved patient outcomes. Now, let's fly back across the Atlantic to the United States, where a solution called MedRec is making waves. MedRec uses blockchain to manage medical records, giving patients control over their own health data. It's a decentralized approach that allows patients to decide who can access their medical information. This not only ensures privacy, but also empowers patients to be active participants in their own healthcare journey. And let's not forget the myriad of startups around the globe, from Asia to Africa, that are harnessing blockchain to tackle issues like counterfeit drugs and insurance fraud. These initiatives demonstrate the transformative potential of blockchain in ensuring the authenticity of medications and bringing transparency to insurance claims. These examples show how blockchain is not just a theoretical concept, it's a practical solution that's reshaping healthcare right now. The blockchain revolution in healthcare is just beginning. So, what does the future hold? Picture a world where blockchain technology is fully integrated into healthcare systems, forming the backbone of a new, patient-centric model of care. It's a world where data silos are a thing of the past, replaced by secure, transparent, and universally accessible health records. Blockchain could streamline clinical trials by ensuring data integrity and traceability. It would eliminate falsified data and provide a clear, unchangeable record of patient responses and side effects. This would not only increase the speed of drug discovery, but also enhance the safety and efficacy of new treatments. Imagine the potential of blockchain in telemedicine. With the rise of remote consultations, there's an ever-growing need for secure patient data transmission. Blockchain could offer a solution enabling secure real-time sharing of patient data while maintaining patient privacy. And what about personalized medicine? The integration of blockchain could enable the secure storage and sharing of genomic data, paving the way for treatments tailored to an individual's genetic makeup. Moreover, blockchain could empower patients by giving them control over their health data. Patients could decide who to share their data with, ensuring their privacy and autonomy. As we look to the future, it's clear that blockchain holds immense potential to transform healthcare as we know it. It's an exciting time to be in the intersection of healthcare and technology.
All right, pretty cool to share that. I want to now introduce this next particular part that we have in regards to lore of Verdian. So, I mean, obviously you guys saw that, right? Getting more into this, let me show this as well before we actually get into the whole thing with lore of Verdian. Let me just refresh this real quick. Yeah, here we go. My bad. All right. So on this particular one, let's get into it. And you see it comes from Tokenizer, and I love citing Tokenizer. Why is that? Well, he's the GOAT as far as I'm concerned when it comes to covering many different projects. Now, in regards to Tokenizer, he mentions specifically right here that Laura Verdian poses a pretty interesting case, of course, for QNT. Well, no kidding. She's, the wife of Gilbert Verdian. Here's some of her background. She had 10 years experience in pharma and healthcare and basically majored in this sector. Prior to joining QNT, she spent 4 years at Deloitte. She's one of the big, Deloitte is one of the big 4 accounting firms. How does healthcare experience connect to QNT? Let's get into that. I'll go ahead and blow this up a little bit more. So what you're going to see here on this other page, a little bit more about this. And basically speaking, look at her education. For one, the London School of Economics. You also have some of these other examples. University of Technology at Sydney, Master of Business Administration. I got one of those as well. Monash University, Graduate Certificate in Pharma Economics. My goodness. University of Sydney, Bachelor's Degree in Pharmacy. So she's got a really robust background. Going to the right side, look at this grocery list. At Deloitte, Director of Deloitte Access Economics, Head of International Market Access, Intercept Pharmaceuticals, Director of Global Market Access, Head of Market Access, Associate Director, Global Market Access. I mean, just tons of stuff. And medical affairs, whether you're a fan of Pfizer or not, right? She has a lot of experience. Getting more into this, let me share some more with you guys. Let's go to the next page. Jump back for a second. Yeah, let's get into this. So there's like a little follow-up, and you have, for instance, Gilbert Verdian. Let's get into this part. So what many might know is basically this. The idea of QNT's overledger and ISO TC 307 actually did come from Gilbert's experiences down in NSW working in their government healthcare sector. Here's a clip of Laura's husband, as you guys know, Gilbert Verdian, explaining how the early days basically went. This is under 2 minutes, and then we'll show you a little bit more in regards to this. But the bottom line is this. Healthcare is a big deal, and it's especially a big deal for QNT. All right, here we go.
The Bitcoin in terms of the words. So the industry was looking at it. It interested financial services a lot. So around that time, I moved government departments, and then I went to the Australian government, and I started thinking about how to use blockchain for cybersecurity reasons because it's a secure rail. I was chief security officer at the Department of Health, and I wanted to interconnect health data between different jurisdictions and different systems. And I started talking about how we can use the blockchain overlay as a secure means to transfer and hold very sensitive, patient data, which is, if you look at the dark net, patient data is the most valuable. Health data costs more to buy than financial data, credit card numbers, etc. And the problem is, if you lose your financial data, you can ring the bank and you get a new card, or you can do other things. But if you lose your health data, you can't ring anyone and say, "Can you change my DNA?" So it's very valuable. So I wanted to do it in a more secure manner. So I started talking about the overlay, which kind of led to the idea of overledger. How do we have a blockchain overlay that can interconnect different networks and different systems? I started talking about it from a government perspective. The standards people approached me, and they said, "This is really interesting. Can we turn this into an ISO standard?" And what that means is standards create economies, because you're allowing people to communicate and talk the same language. And in financial services, in payments and all the messaging systems, ISO 20022 is the standard. The old one was.
All right, so obviously there's a full interview, but it gives you kind of the gist of this. And I'm glad Tokenizer pointed out some of this. There's, of course, a little bit more in regards to all this. So he has a continuation. It's not a video, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool stuff. And I'm going to pull this up. A little bit more about what we were talking about. So for one, like he says, yeah, that's right. Like QNT, baby. Gilbert Verdian is not only one of the most recognized names in the world of trade and finance and cybersecurity, but also in health and legal from some of his previous experiences. And for the most part, if you follow in Quant, we've already gotten to some of this, but, we'll highlight some of it. CSO and Deputy CTO, 2009 to 2011 with the HM Treasury, HSBC, Security and Programs, 2011 to 2012. A lot of these, right? Ministry of Justice for about a year. Vocal Link with MasterCard, right? He was, Chief Security Officer, I believe, right? CSO. And that was from 2016 to 2018. But one of your key takeaways is security, payments, all this stuff, right? and of course, board member, and recently resigned from the Digital Pound Foundation, founder, of course, of ISOTC 307. But again, one of your key things that you should take away from this is he doesn't necessarily stick around forever. He comes in, he does his work, he gets it done, and then he moves on. But the one that he sticks with, obviously, is Quant Network. Getting more into this, how about this for size? Interopen, a consortium of bringing interoperability through healthcare data. Gilbert was, of course, actually one of the first who collaborated with QNT. First collaborations that QNT had officially announced back in 2018. Both Laura and Gilbert had some exciting things to say for this concept. And here it is. Quant Network back then worked, of course, to join Interopen back in 2018. Getting more into this, you will see this. I'll blow this part up because it's going to be hard to read if you're on your couch or even on your phone or whatever you're using. All right, let me blow this up. So hopefully you can see it. Let me just double check the settings real quick. Yep, you can. Well, look what it says here. Gilbert Verdian, founder and CEO of Quant Network, basically stated that Quant Network is pleased to be collaborating with Interopen. With the increased stress on health services in the UK, we believe that digital transformation is needed now more than ever. Do you not see all the digital transformation going on as we speak? Our Overledger operating system can reduce the risks and costs involved in, of course, digital transformation with minimal disruption to patients. We're also excited about the opportunities for blockchain adoption that may come from our involvement with what? Interopen. Now, in regards to Laura Verdian, because we were talking about Laura Verdian, obviously, she, of course, is the head of healthcare services for Quant Network and health economist, which additionally noted that it is estimated by the OECD that approximately 1/5 of healthcare expenditure is wasted. Digital transformation and interoperability enabled by technical standards and blockchain tech is expected to significantly reduce this wastage and ultimately lead to better healthcare outcomes, of course, for patients. So again, meeting a little bit more of that supply and demand, but not being wasteful. Let me jump back to a little bit more about this because I want to share this. I think this is good. Because, we don't really talk about healthcare all the time. A little bit, right? We talk about Cure Project, both partnered with Ripple and also JASMY. What about QNT? And, definitely recognizing Laura Verdian again. Now, I've done a piece in the past in regards to this, but this is a really good breakdown, of course, from Tokenizer. And if you're not following them, give them a follow. We're on Crypto Twitter. 31,000 followers. My gosh. One of QNT's key partners, Oracle, had also recently acquired Cerner, and they're an American health info tech supplier and service provider valued at $28 billion during the time of acquisition. We also know Oracle has come out saying that QNT will be Oracle's primary solution for interoperability. Yeah, we've already confirmed that a while back. If you want a little more of that reiteration to pound that home a little bit more, well, there's this. Oracle by Cerner. There was a news release. When was that? Well, it was back in December 2021, almost 2 years ago. Talks about this whole thing about that Cerner and Oracle. Talked about the agreement for Oracle and Cerner to acquire Cerner through an all-cash tender offer for $95 per share, at least with the stocks, or approximately $28.3 billion in equity value. So again, guys, all back to some of the examples we've been talking about quite a bit. The big money. What are they doing? What industries are part of this? This closing little quote real quick. Let's share this. Working together, Cerner and Oracle have the capacity to transform healthcare delivery by providing medical professionals with better information, enabling them to make better treatment decisions, resulting in better patient outcomes. All right. This is the closing part. This is kind of cool. There are even more potential leads that could hint at Quant and Overledger being used in healthcare and, of course, the medical sector. We put a lot of focus on talking about when it comes to Quant. Let's face it, recently, Bank of England, Bank of International Settlements, talking about the whole Citi connection, talking about even JP Morgan, right? But you got to keep in mind there's also the healthcare sector, and I do think Quant really, really shines in that because of that whole thing with Laura Verdian, that plug, that connect. So for now, like he says, let's enjoy this little breakdown and see how things basically emerge and get integrated into DLT and blockchain. And we'll continuously cover it here at Maximus Crypto. And who knows, maybe Will Fix will start talking about more as well. He's just recently got into QNT. So big up to Will. All right. The next bit of coverage that we have for you guys tonight will be, in closing, the JASMY coverage. JASMY's your thing. Stay tuned for that. We have a little bit to get into in regards to the Indonesian Ministry of Communication and why that's so big for data and in particularly JASMY. All right, please smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's kick it back into the comments, and we got quite a few to get into. I'll double check the other screen here in a bit. I want to welcome Julian Cato. You just bought some SLP, or you bought some SLP in the past. That's all right. I mean, when did you buy it though? Did you buy it towards bottom? It just depends, right? Let's see here. Legendary says he's going to eat the, you're going to eat the baby. You want my baby. That's good. I'm glad you guys are having a good time, right? Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know why. I mean, why would you go after your community? Can you imagine, like me going after the people from Will Fix's community? Be like, oh, shame on you and stuff. That's just bogus. Like, why do that? Anyway, Eric Onassis, not to be confused with Aristotle Onassis. When Will is talk, let him answer. You'll talk too much. Okay. All right. Well, I'll take the constructive criticism. I do great deep dives. Thank you very much. My thing was, Will stated before the show he wanted me to interrupt. You can verify this with him yourself if you want. Because he wanted me to keep reminding you guys and so on to hit the like for we can get more exposure. We're content creators. Naturally, that's something that we need to do. He also wanted to have a back and forth conversation. So, I mean, I had to inject at some point, but it is what it is. I do appreciate the constructive criticism, if it is constructive criticism. Anyway, GG, thank you. Appreciate you for being here. Let's go further down and really robust, like Denell Dixon. They got point out 2 days in a row. That's all right. All right, Anchor, not Anchor Protocol, but Anchor, ANKR. Big difference, right? Right. Partnered up with XTC today. That's cool. Very cool. Yep, we did share that earlier. Thank you for that, Sinbad, and thank you again for your super chat earlier. Boomer F says can't compare BTC to XRP. If BTC had XRP's circulating supply of 53 billion, with its current market cap, BTC would be worth about $9. That is a good point, But I mean, let's face it. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, who's going to be the new number one, as far as market cap and so on. But that's a very good point. Do you think at some point XRP will be taken off exchanges? This gets brought up a lot. Very well could be, and here's why. So some people will say no, never is going to happen. Why would Coinbase allow for trading, right? And then all of a sudden take it off. Well, what about when Brad Garlinghouse basically says, and let me take out the branding for this because we're not talking about that anymore. Brad Garling says, the focus has never been on retail. Well, for some people, it's like, no, this sucks because I won't be able to buy XRP. I'm sure there's ways that we could find out on how we could buy XRP. But the other thing is, won't that create that much more supply and demand for the asset, as in XRP? I know some people will say, well, if that's the case, Max, you just talked about Quant. Their focus is not on retail. That's true too. So those are all speculative things, and I think it's good that you and other people recognize that. All right, let's just read a few more comments, and then we'll kick it into the JASMY coverage of the night. I know we're going about 2 hours and 23 minutes. It feels longer than that. For some reason, right now, it feels like it's been 3 hours, but that's all right. I don't mean that in a bad way. We have currently 49 people watching on Maximus Crypto and 45 people on the other one. All right, let's see here. Let me see. I'll jump back to the other screen real quick because I want to recognize some of you guys' comments from Will Fix. Man, some of you guys are really upset. Maximus, stop interrupting. Okay. All right, let's see here. Just trying to double check the other screen. Yeah, Polygon, you're welcome. You're welcome. The fact that the World Economic Forum is positive on Ripple is a huge deal. True. Look at the corporate partner page for, yeah, I've done that before. Excuse me, Steve, did you say something about JASMY coin? Not yet. I'm going to. All right. Do you do this full-time work? It feels like it's full-time. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's not my full-time job. But it does feel like a lot of work. But I haven't, to answer your question, I don't know if this is your question. I've been doing a live show in crypto content for since December of 2021. And then as far as live streams, April 2022. And I've been personally invested into crypto, BTC 2016, altcoins 2021. I don't really count the whole thing with BTC. I mean, I put $300 into it, held it to 2021, cashed out, put into alts. But as far as my crypto journey, it started basically with alts in January 2021. So, yeah, coming up on 3 years here soon. All right, let's see here. Let's read a couple more comments. Let's see what we got. Elon Musk was talking about buying JASMY coin, by the way. He's backing JASMY. Did a video about that. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I don't think he really comes out and says just flat out JASMY, but you believe that Elon is trying to help out the masses, gain as much money as possible, and also enrich himself even more. The key thing about the video, not the thumbnail, so is his visit to Japan. He has a problem with the X platform that needs to be addressed, and of course, the video breakdown talks about some of that. All right. So ISO 222 tokens. Hold on. So let's read this from CJ Morissette. He believes that Elon is trying to help out the masses, gain as much money as possible, and also enrich himself even more. ISO 222 tokens. You're dead serious. Okay. All right. So let's see here. We're going to jump back into the other screen for Maximus Crypto. And where are we at? All right. Let's read this. Couple comments from here. GG. X is the official designation for money, not controlled by any government. Just like a pirate map, X marks the spot. R. That's funny. And knowing that, how about this, guys? Elon Musk stating, I'm sure some of you guys seen that interview where he talks about at some point the X platform, formerly known as Twitter, could very well be a place where half of the global financial payments come flowing through. So I'm looking at, like, I think I said this to Will Fix earlier, before the show, or maybe we did during the show. I can't remember. Sometimes there's so much to cover. And that basically is like, wow, he doesn't necessarily have to just choose one, and here's an example. So, for the bank to bank money and so on, and that big money flow, I mean, he could literally say, yeah, I'm gonna go with Ripple. Well, the platform, think about the platform. The platform is more catered towards retail. So then you could just be like, well, yeah, for all the retail payments and so on, I'm gonna go with Stellar. That's another X. And it's just like, well, what about big trade and so on? Well, now that's where people say XDC. But you want to know something? Wherever he does choose, whoa, man, do I want to just go all in on just one? Or do I want to be diversified? For me personally, I'm glad I'm diversified. It's like winning a lottery ticket or something. All right, I'm gonna read a few more comments. Let's see here. There's some comments I'm not gonna be able to click on because YouTube has a fit. Twitter don't care. I guess I'll just read this. Legendary says at 8:19 p.m. Digital Pound Foundation really sounds like a name of a prawn. I'll just call it that. Prawn flick. Yeah, that's funny how you mention that. Digital Pound Foundation. At least you're having fun, right? All right. Sinbad, less people will be ripping off the health system by going to blockchain. That's a good point. And knowing that, man, I mean, think about like even just checking into a doctor's office or having to wait forever for the particular doctor. In a lot of cases, not that the doctor's super busy. It's just pulling up your data and have somebody enter into the system, and it's just constant paperwork. How about medical records? That's a huge mess in itself. How would you like to have it on a more efficient system, right? On chain, for instance. Let's read this from Mike Cornwell. Elon Musk converted to digital media. A diploid genome can store 1.5 gigabytes of data. And now consider that the human body consists of 100 billion cells. Yikes! Since DNA has the ability to encode 2 bits per nucleotide, if I pronounce it right, 1 gram of dry DNA can store 455 exabytes of data. Random info that's okay, Sinbad09, thank you. Was wondering about that the other day. Yeah, I'm sure. Driving down the street, right? Cruising down the street in Yo 6 Fo, thinking about the data, trying to get some mo, right? No, not happening. All right. I agree, man. The oil of the future. All right, so we're going to get down to the JASMY bit here in a second. I know that we're losing some people, and that's okay because, let's face it, it's 2.5 hours. Sometimes people don't want to watch a whole show, but we'll have more people come in. So if anything, you're just connecting, please smash that like. Boomer After Sir, I will agree with you on that. QNT will be the new #1. And even back to your example earlier, we're talking about the tokenomics, but the supply, XRP, and so on. QNT is less of a supply than BTC. I mean, literally by what, 7.5 million, something like that. All right, you don't have to buy it. You can swap it to other asset for it. That's a good point. All right. I think I'm literally towards the bottom. That's unbelievable. At least the bottom on this one. I'll check the other page here in a bit. Let's read this from Boomer F and Sooner. I like this. Now, if QNT had BTC's current market cap, QNT would be 44,000 per BTC. And for me and a lot of people, man, talking about being very wealthy just off of QNT alone. Not even counting some of the other assets that you're into, right? Many provoke crazy people in this world. All right. Legendary, great stream tonight. You're off to bed. No problem. I hope to see more of you. Legendary, you probably already left by now. Thank you for being here. And we're going to get into the last bit of our coverage, just double checking the other screen where it looks like we're doing good. So I tried my best to go back and forth on both. We currently still have 83 people watching if you count both streams. I'm looking at the top of my left-hand corner. You guys don't see on your screen, but it says 83, which is pretty cool. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into, yes, the Jasmine coverage. Some of you guys are like, finally, right? Well, that's okay, right? You guys got to keep in mind, it was a special night tonight, having the one and only Will Fix. Please give him a sub if you haven't done so already. And if you're from his channel, please give us a sub over here at Maximus Crypto. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this up. Just going to clear out some more tabs. All right, got it. Good. Here we go. Yeah, I think this is good stuff. So this comes from NeoXTricks, and we're going to basically get into that here in a bit. I'll pull up the branding. All right, so here's what Neo has. And of course, we're going to talk about data. We're going to talk about Indonesia, right? What is this whole thing about Indonesia? Well, for one, if you've been following JASMY, you got to keep in mind, Bajit. Think about the BJIT. Is the I Indonesia? Well, let's take a look into it. So you have this right here. Here's a report from him. And please give NeoXTricks a follow over at Bana A17. But getting into this, I thought I'd bring it to your attention, especially if you're a JASMY holder. Back in 2019, the Indonesian Ministry of Communication and Information promoted a law for the protection of just that, personal data. Do you see why JASMY is taking over the Indonesian market? Or how about this? Notice how Bajit positioned themselves for all this, especially when it comes to JASMY. Indonesia has 273 million inhabitants. I think they rank 4th in the world, if I'm not mistaken. We'll show you that data here in a bit, as far as world population. Looks like they can adopt JASMY very quickly, and of course, we hope this. Now, we put a lot of focus here at Maximus Crypto when it comes to JASMY and Japan, right? Especially, right? Like, that's the home country. But we do need to start talking about other particular countries. So we talked about the United States. Now enter into the whole mix of Indonesia. getting more into this, you're going to see some things. I'm going to blow up a little bit more. And I love how NeoXTrix just gets right to the nitty gritty. What is the nitty gritty? Well, number 5 from ComInfo talks about this particular law. 5, the right to control over personal data. The final reason globally that we have as an Indonesia control over the privacy of our own data, our own personal data. This guaranteed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, Article 12 of the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, which is called ICCPR, 1966, Article 17. Indonesia has also ratified both what? This whole thing of that was explained in Semul. I guess that's what's being cited from. Basically goes on to mention that first, according to Semul, personal data includes human rights and privacy as stated in the 1948 Universal Declaration of Mankind, Article 12. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? Second, personal data is a high-valued asset or commodity in the era of big data and the digital economy. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, my data in 1948, like, huh? But maybe they did define it a little bit different. Like, literally physical pieces of paper, right? From a filing cabinet. You get the whole gist. Third, the PDP bill is intended to minimize privacy violations, lastly, misuse of personal data, and increasing public awareness to protect their own personal data. So the source is from CNNindonesia.com, but the point you should take away from this is other countries that, look at the whole thing of data, personal data being a big deal. It's not just Japan. It's not just Southeast Asia. Or, obviously Indonesia is part of Southeast Asia. But again, my thing is I like the idea that this country, a lot of people live there. I like the idea of utility in motion. If they rank 4th in the world, all we need is like even just 5%, not even that, maybe just 1% of these people doing what? Having personal data lockers, data in motion, utility in motion. You guys get tired of me saying this. But jumping more into this, I want to get into some of these comments, and these are some good comments. So this guy, and we don't always share comments, right? But this guy makes a great point. He says, imagine when JASMY enters into India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, 80% of the world population. That's a great point. There's nothing wrong to dream, kind of like what Will Fix was talking about earlier. NeoXTrix says, why not? Let's dream, my friend. It's free, and who knows? Maybe you never know. But the crazy thing is that even if it wasn't an investor with everything he knows about the project, he would have dreamed the same. So as an investor, if I dream and the reward is an overlapping of just that in the future, the overlapping of data in motion being used, the utility. All right, let's share some more from NeoXTrix. So when I talk about utility and we talk about utility in motion, at some point we have examples. Avita is a great example. So for one, NeoXTrix gets into this. He even has a demo. I think this is great because I love visualizations. Who doesn't? Especially when you're trying to learn. As a teacher, I always love showing our students visualizations. They could drift off. Maybe you're drifting off. But you know what? Sometimes you just need a little break. You need to look at something visualized. So we're getting that in a bit. But Avita and JASMY are delighted, of course, to announce that Avita computers, including this status model, are now equipped with JASMY's blockchain security technology, making them the most secure in the world. Now we're going to show you this demo. I had to kind of drop the volume down. It was super loud, but we do appreciate Mr. NeoXTrix going through all the trouble of some of these. And he's hooked me up with some intros. Anyway, smash that like if JASMY's your thing. Let's speak for itself. Check this out. All right, that was obviously pretty cool to see that visualization. I'm going to jump back into a little bit more of what we have in regards to the JASMY coverage. And basically speaking, let's jump into this because we share the whole thing about Indonesia and we share the whole thing about Evita. This part comes from Reddit, and we do use Reddit as a great source, part of that utility tool belt, if you will. Look what is mentioned there. It talks about Evita, JASMY, blockchain ready. This was 8 days ago. SecurePC is what? It is now available in Indonesia, according to the Evita official website. Now, getting more into this for a second, if you're wondering, and here's my notes. How many people live in Indonesia? According from the last report that they had there, they don't have a recent report as in this year or last year. But from the last report for 2021, 273.8 million people live in Indonesia. And bottom line, it is basically a country with the fourth most population. And basically speaking, if you're wondering, how much GDP do they have? Like, what's the ranking? Gross domestic product? Great question. 1.186 trillion according to the 2021 report. So that's cool. We want to have JASMY be available, especially in the form of a Evita notebook, if you will, in areas of the world like this. Big populated places like that, even if we lowball it and don't get the entire population to use it, which we know that's not going to happen. But even when we get certain percentages, can you imagine about the whole concept of utility in motion? That's what excites me. This is where I'm like, yeah, there's no way it's going to be worth what is that. So I want to share this with you. And it talks about this progress in regards to the whole thing of the Evita blockchain PC. Goes on to mention how it's the world's most secure laptop powered by blockchain tech. And basically how it also goes into detail about Evita Technologies International and how they're pleased to announce the introduction of the world's first Evita blockchain PC to the Indonesian market with the launch of their latest Satis and Pura A+ series of laptops. Some people have said to me, can we get some examples of the actual products? I don't know if it was Dingy. Here's an example. Further to the release in Hong Kong and Singapore earlier this year, you have this report that's mentioned, and that Indonesia joins the ranks as a significant milestone in their global expansion journey. Slated as the world's most secure laptop running on Windows OS platform, Evita blockchain PC addresses cybersecurity and just that, obviously, personal data protection. No kidding, right? Gives customer peace of mind with unhackable blockchain-powered encryption. It's a bold statement. Some people say, yeah, I don't know about that. Could still be done. Maybe all with the old traditional model, but what about with real blockchain-powered encryption? So this is where I want to draw your attention to for a brief moment, and that is this particular post. Blockchain tech uses, of course, cryptography to do just that, secure data. It makes data immutable and unhackable as to eliminate the possibility of data loss. Data is stored across multiple nodes in decentralized network. Blockchain tech ensures that data is secure, immutable, like Gilbert Verdian is always talking about, and easily accessible. It revolutionizes the way we store and manage just that, our data. Now, this whole thing about these key features for Evita blockchain PC or secure blockchain PC goes into some things about, for instance, what it's equipped with. So for one, there's several key features that provide advanced privacy and security, of course, for personal data. For one, it's the secure data locker, but there's also a thing called operation status viewer, and there's also a thing called the PC functions management tool. Now, whether you're on par to get one of these or not, or you just like the idea that, JASMY has these type of products with Evita, it's always worth trying to find out like the actual utility in motion, in my opinion. I like this real quick. I like the idea of knowing that, you have this thing called the PC operation status viewer, and it allows users to monitor their PC's activity and manage their business operations in real time with easy to read graphics and essential metrics. available. My thing is this: why make a product or a particular PC, laptop, whatever you want to call it, in which it's just okay, part of the status norm? You got to develop something that people like, like, hey, I want this. I work at a certain place. I want this type of computer, and then have other people share, hey, you know what? This is a really cool, device or product, right? Again, we talk about adoption. Now, there's more characteristics about this, and I do like some of these statements. Here's one. With everything connected to the internet, privacy concern is the key. Whether it's personal or corporate use, protecting the privacy to avoid data leakage is essential. I think everywhere, right? Avita blockchain PC enables you to visualize and optimize your PC's activity and performance, allowing you to stay focused on your task and increase productivity. Avita blockchain PC utilizes just that, blockchain tech to hash and anonymize log data, which is then securely stored in a consortium type blockchain. We obviously know which one that's going to be. This ensures that your data is always protected and kept secure. It empowers you to work remotely without any privacy security concerns, no matter where you're located around the world, at home, wherever. That is the reason why they need an Avita blockchain PC, or maybe why you need it. Going down to this last part, I like this part. Avita blockchain PC users can stay productive and secure at all times. Moreover, this device prepares users for the future by enabling them to access the world of Web3 through upcoming blockchain applications, making a smart decision for those who stay ahead of just that, the curve. Now, there's all these things about the rise of opportunities in regards to Web3, but what you should take away from this whole thing is how JASMY, through Avita, provides a platform of just that, decentralized open source platform that enables secure peer-to-peer interactions without intermediaries. How many times I use that Quant reference, and that's another story for another day if you never even were a part of that. Based on blockchain technology, Web3 is completely, as we know, decentralized, offering new opportunities for cybersecurity. So again, there will be even more and more opportunities for JASMY to grow out, expand, and shine. This last statement: by storing data and information in a distributed ledger, Web3 applications are more secure and robust against attacks compared to the traditional web applications. So my key thing is JASMY is at the forefront of that personal data management, protecting your data and your business, in this example, their data as well. All right. And last but not least, I think we just covered the whole thing of population. So I guess that's going to wrap it up in regards to the JASMY coverage for data. I'm sorry, that wasn't the last part. I want to get to the part about adoption. This is good stuff. And then we'll close it up. My bad. To support his previous assumptions, again, NeoXtrix, here is Toyota's research and development. Namely, they are clients JNA JASMY partnership. I did a whole deep dive about JNA. I honestly think that is a really, really solid partnership. But you had this whole thing of WITS. You understand that WITS is got a big connection, subsidiary of Toyota, and JASMY also work at the development of software platforms, etc., for Toyota. So before I did that deep dive about Sony and Honda, the joint venture, well, again, WITS, it literally says it right on the screen. Remember we caught that little leak? I don't know, maybe you guys didn't see on this channel, but from the old one. And it talks about rate, or I shouldn't say talks about, literally the guy used the example. I mean, maybe that was a breaking the NDA. It says JASMY right on the example, and it says PDL, personal data locker. So they let that slip out. But the point is the work and development of software platforms, of course, for Toyota. And again, my thing is, even if, for whatever reason, we don't get the whole thing of Sony and Honda, and they don't choose JASMY for IoT, you do still have this whole thing of Toyota. What if you have both, right? Did anybody talk about that? What if you get both? So in anticipation of an era in which tens of millions, I want you to see this for a second, of connected cars have become widespread, we are working to realize an IoT data, this is the juicy stuff, platform optimized for cars. It collects, stores, and utilizes vast amounts of data, such as vehicle information, images, and video information. Again, the Internet of Things. Jasmine's all over that. Like, what? A fat kid on cake. Max, you're a fat kid on cake. Yes, I am. But we are working on technology development for embedded software, communications, network architecture, development, IoT data platform architecture, data analysis, vehicle data utilization technology, data. That is absolutely huge. And it's worth pointing out because my thing is I want to focus on the whole concept of getting to the point of mass adoption. You see so many things that give you examples of just that mass adoption. And last but not least, what about Jasmine? Where's priced right now? Are you getting flooded out because the market is tanking? You knew that eventually there was going to have some things that might cause you to give into fear, but let's give you an update. The market currently is at 1.04 trillion. We have went from neutral to fear. What's going on with Jasmine? Well, let's see. Jasmine's now at 0.003075. It's been pointed out numerous times that when it comes to Jasmine, you know, we have to hold support at 0.00288. Or do we? See, for me, it's a case of I like the idea of accumulating more. And if anything, if I am going to continue to buy more on fear, what about some of the bigger players, the whales? Did we not see what happened not that long ago when it comes to specifically what? Binance buying a lot of Jasmine? Why would Binance buy way more Jasmine than it did a year ago? Again, try your own conclusion in regards to that. Always follow the big money. I'm doing it. Are you? All right. With that said, this is the last segment that we have tonight. And we do thank you for tuning in to Maximus Crypto and, of course, Will Fix. In closing, I'm going to go ahead and read the last bit of comments, and then we'll shut things down for the night. All right. Let's check this out. Hello, Corey Anderson. Hi from New Zealand. Hello, is it Corey Anderson we're looking for? Why now, Richie? That's an inside joke. You will hear more about it. Glad to see Corey Anderson, and hello to you from New Zealand. All right, Elon Musk, laughing my you-know-what off. It says make in India instead of made in India. Again, language barriers. They don't cater to us, right? Can imagine if we went over there, they'd be like laughing you-know-what off. It's, you know, this is an American trying to tell us how to do our job. I don't know. Maybe they don't do that. But I get what you're saying. Like a sandbox isolated. Yeah. You also got to keep in mind, it's not them who said made in India or make in India. It was Mr. Neo X Tricks, which, you know, great guy, but I don't think English is his first language anyway. So there's that too. We always appreciate his content. Great content creator, great researcher, and he makes awesome intros. You're going to see some of the intros here, you know, when I chop up the videos. Anyway, let's check out the comments from the other channel, which is Will Fix's channel. Let's just double check real quick, see how we're doing. So we did read some of that. Good morning to Koenig. Hello, guten Tag. To Koenig, he said good morning from Germany. Koenig, please make sure that you sub to at least Will Fix since you're over on his platform. But if you want to sub to mine as well, Maximus Crypto, really appreciate it. It's a dual simulcast. So glad to have you guys here. Lots of great comments and appreciate you guys. All right, let's read the last bit of comments. We have like a sandbox isolated reply, big shoe, really. All right. I think I got into just about everything. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up tonight. We do have 63 wonderful people here on both streams, but you know, as saying goes, everything has to come to an end at some point. So closing things out, 38 people here, and currently speaking, we have 25 over on Will Fixes for a total of 63. We ticked up, I think, maybe up to 180 earlier. My gosh, this has been the greatest stream we ever had in the history of the platform or both channels. Please give a like, comment, and subscribe to Mr. Will Fix, and you will be seeing more of them. He said he's going to be uploading more to his own channel, also here, vice versa. and we're looking forward to it. Guys, it's been a pleasure to be able to bring this to you guys. And shout out to our fellow brother Will Fix for doing a great job with his own deep dive. Let's face it, right? With what he found in regards to an old video of David Schwartz, giving his own perspective and so on. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Goodbye from the Rice Crop Consortium, right? Absolutely.